Allegiance.
Indeed. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you for that. Next item is public comments, comments that are not related to an item already on the agenda. Have anybody that'd like to speak? Come on up, state your name, your address.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Monique LaCroix, and I am a resident of District 4 in Chaska. Last time I was here, I shared a personal story about witnessing a young man named Alex being detained by ICE as he was leaving the immigration courtroom in hopes of humanizing immigrants. Today, I will share from a different perspective. I want to begin by thanking Commissioner Fahey and Commissioner Uterman. I sincerely appreciate that you took the time with me to listen to my concerns over the phone and to discuss the complexities of immigration and public safety. That dialogue is what good governance looks like. Commissioner Lynch, you are my representative on this board. I have reached out to you to request a meeting, but I have not yet received a response. I would still very much welcome the opportunity to sit down with you, constituent to commissioner, to discuss this important decision. I am here to ask you to oppose any agreement that uses Carver County resources to house ICE detainees or participate in federal immigration enforcement. Commissioner Lynch, as a logistics professional and former township supervisor, you understand supply and demand. When you have a supply shortage, like staffing sheriff's office, it is not advisable to take on high-risk clients like ICE that drain your core resources. Right now, the sheriff's office is facing a severe supply shortage. We have seen turnover rates as high as 40%. The staffing crisis is so acute that the county had to issue a refund of nearly $200,000 to the city of Chanhassen because we physically could not provide the deputies they contracted for. If we cannot even fulfill our paid contracts to our own cities, why are we volunteering to do the federal government's work? We are facing an 8% levy increase next year. We cannot afford to divert scarce deputies or tax dollars to subsidize federal operations. But the cost goes deeper than just deputy wages, and this is a critical point for this board specifically. As you know, Minnesota is unique. We are a state-supervised, county-administered system. That means this board is directly responsible for paying for and implementing child protection, mental health services, and economic assistance. These services already consume the largest portion of our county budget. When the sheriff partners with ICE to detain and deport local residents, he is creating a downstream fiscal crisis that we taxpayers have to pay for. When a breadwinner is deported, the family is often plunged into poverty, requiring the county's assistance. When parents are separated, When parents are separated from their children, those children often enter the county's child protection system. When families live in terror, the demand for county mental health services spikes. From a fiscal perspective, this is a bad deal. The sheriff gets the enforcement headline, but the board gets the bill for the social services cleanup. Every family separated by this policy is a potential new line item in your human services budget. Commissioner Anderson, this negatively affects your priority of upstream thinking. You have correctly argued that we spend too much time reacting to crises rather than preventing them. You advocate for mental health reform and family stability. Partnering with ICE is the very definition of a downstream disaster. It creates trauma. It destabilizes families. It generates the exact mental health and economic crises you are trying to prevent. If we want to practice upstream thinking, we must stop policies that traumatize our community at the source. Now, we cannot build a healthy community on a foundation of fear. Finally, there is the risk of direct legal liability. We know that Operation Metro Surge has been chaotic. Just last week in Minneapolis, ICE agents tackled and detained a U.S. citizen simply for looking Somali. Carver County is already facing litigation from the ACLU regarding the detention of Michael Barela. When a mistake is made, when a U.S. citizen is detained in our jail, it is Carver County that gets sued. It is our levy that pays the settlement. The federal government does not indemnify us for their mistakes.
Monique, if I can interrupt, we do have a 5-minute limit and you're pushing 6. So,
I have 10 seconds left.
okay.
Commissioner Uderman, you asked me for a solution. In this moment, I believe the solution is focus. The solution is to say no to the distraction of federal immigration enforcement so that our sheriff can focus 100% on hiring deputies, fulfilling local contracts, and keeping our communities safe. The solution is to support the Family Resource Center you mentioned, keeping families together rather than policies that create traumatized children. I ask you all to protect our budget, protect our upstream investments, but most importantly, protect our neighbors. Please oppose any contract with ICE. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Okay.
Hi, my name is Chris Morrill. I'm a Hennepin County resident. Thank you for providing this open public forum. I was at the recent Chanhassen raid on Saturday, December 13th. I know you received my email, but wanted to tell you in person what I saw and experienced that day. With ICE's history of assaults, disregard for constitutional rights, and inhumane treatment of people, immigrants and citizens alike, I felt the need to show up as a citizen constitutional observer documenting ICE's actions. Saturday, I witnessed an ICE officer assault a peaceful protester by shoving her forcefully. She wasn't doing anything wrong. I feared for her safety, the safety of the other protesters on scene, and the safety of the 2 immigrants on the roof during sub-zero weather. In response to what looked like escalating ICE violence, I asked the Carver County deputies on site to move closer so they'd have an unobstructed view of exchanges between ICE, the immigrants, and the protesters. I generally understand the limitations that local law enforcement is under when dealing with federal law enforcement agencies. I did not ask the deputies to obstruct or breach the perimeter ICE had established. I simply wanted to have a local law enforcement officer there to witness and document any further abuse from ICE, hoping ICE may be held accountable. I presume the Sheriff's Department was there to keep the community safe and help deter violent and aggressive behavior from ICE without obstructing or impeding. Aren't local police there to help prevent and stop aggression and violence towards its community members, is my question. I was surprised with the reaction I received. I had to make my request 6 times over half hour's time until finally a deputy reluctantly walked a couple hundred feet down the public road so he could see what was going on. This resistance from the sheriff's deputies looked as if they were supporting ICE over their own residents. Additionally, I've heard Carver County is considering entering into an agreement with ICE to utilize its detention facilities. ICE is an agency that racially profiles. Last week, a 20-year-old Somali American citizen was rushed, tackled, and forced into a vestibule where he was put into a headlock and thrown into an ICE vehicle, all while he was telling the agents that he was an American citizen. They didn't talk to him. They didn't identify themselves as ICE agents or ask him to show his ID, passport, or papers. They simply took him away because his skin was black. Prior to that, a 53-year-old woman in Burnsville was yelled at and pinned to the ground because she refused to let ICE into her apartment building. Her husband is a lawful immigrant who is now afraid to go outside. Note, ICE did not have a judicial warrant. Only after she told the men she was going to call the police did they start to let her up. Here's an example that local police can be a deterrent for ICE violence if they want to be. Yet another 55-year-old woman was thrown to the ground because she asked some men if they were ICE agents. One ICE agent asked who she was and told her to back up. She stood still. The ICE agent then threw her to the ground, handcuffed her, and took her to the Whipple detention facility for several hours. In no way was this older woman a threat to anyone. One more, yes, believe it or not, do you notice a pattern picking on vulnerable people here? One more 55-year-old woman observing and documenting public ICE activities was boxed in by 4 unmarked SUVs and surrounded by masked men. The ICE agents threatened to arrest her for impeding. Following an ICE vehicle to document their actions in public is not impeding and is a constitutional right we all have. If ICE is using these kinds of intimidating and violent tactics toward U.S. citizens, imagine what they're doing to immigrants when no one's watching. It looks very much like Carver County supports ICE. I'm not a constituent since I live in Hennepin County, but would ask that you all simply and clearly let your constituents know whether you support ICE or not, and let them decide at the polls. I can only hope that policies can be reviewed and revised in your local law enforcement department to better protect your residents, the public, and immigrants from ICE's aggression and violence. I know if any of my representatives facilitate and cooperate with ICE, they for sure won't have my vote. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Okay.
Good morning. Can you hear me all right? My name is Grecia Lozano. I am the Executive Director of Latino Voices of Minnesota. We are at 123 West 3rd Street here in Chaska. As an organization, we are here to voice those who are oppressed and afraid of speaking for themselves. So this morning, I am here to share 2 testimonials of Chaska residents who are afraid to be up here by themselves. As a citizen, a resident of Chaska, and a member of the Latino community, I do not agree with the county lending our jails to ICE to imprison members of our community. I am against our county being a part of the injustice of imprisoning innocent people whose only crime is seeking a better future for our families. Accepting this will only create fear and distrust towards local authorities. The presence of ICE in our community has created racism, violence, and insecurity, and we do not want this to be our reality in our community, where simply having a different skin color means being singled out and judged as criminals. Every day, my children go to school with the uncertainty of whether we as their parents will be home when they return. Every time we hear ICE is in our city, my whole family panics. And now, to learn that there is a possibility that they will be always in our city, I don't even want to think about what daily life will be like for our community, for my family, for our people. Please, let's not be a part of the injustice that is being perpetrated. We are not criminals. We don't want handouts. We are hardworking people who want to work every day to earn our daily bread.
All right, well, thank you.
This is a second constituent, also here in Chaska. Every day, I wake up and I see more and more ICE presence in our communities. It takes me back to when I was a young girl, many years ago. One of my parents left our home and never came back. They were simply out on their way to the store to buy whatever we needed for dinner, but they never returned because they were pulled over by a Carver County sheriff and detained for not having a license. Although my parent was held at Carver County Jail for a short period of time, they were only there for 3 days. And they were moved quickly to a different facility where they were held for months, far longer than they were here in Carver County. During that time, we didn't go visit. It didn't matter how close they were or where they were being held. The fear was overwhelming. That fear stayed with me for years. Just the sight of a sheriff's car was enough to terrify me, making me believe my other parent would be taken as well. This happened many, many years ago, but now, as an adult, I look at the children who are living through the same reality. Today, I remember how hopeless I felt, and I know this is how they must feel too. I think about holidays and birthdays spent without one of my parents, and how being held in custody nearby wouldn't have made a difference. Nothing would have. ICE in our communities brings nothing but fear, trauma, and lasting pain for our families. Thank you so much.
Okay, anybody else?
Oh, sorry about that. Okay, thank you. My name is Bridget. I'm from Chaska, and
Bridget, what's your last name?
Brophy, I'm sorry. And my commissioner is Matt Uderman. I'm opposed to Carver County entering into a contract with ICE for the following reasons. Many of the people being unlawfully detained are either U.S. citizens or legal residents, either through visas or in the process of working towards citizenship. ICE is illegally detaining people through the cruelest means, without warrant and based on racial profiling. This county does not need to invite ICE presence to our city. It is bad for our community and citizens, sends the wrong message of who we are, and is bad for businesses. So U.S. history is full of examples of good people who followed along and did bad things. The Japanese internment camps and our treatment of Native Americans are just 2 examples. Being complicit with this government's racial cleansing attempt is not something that this county should be a part of. Thank you.
I'm Colleen Klingelhutz. I live in Laketown Township. When I initially became aware of the Carver County Sheriff considering contracting with ICE, I brought it to the attention of Chairman Berkman and Commissioner Fahey that I thought this would open the county to possible lawsuits. A Star Tribune story November 3rd reported Anoka County and Nobles County had both been successfully sued for illegally holding people for ICE, and that there was a similar lawsuit pending in Carver County. I believe that was what Monique was referring to as well. I'd like to know how that lawsuit turned out, the one against Carver County, how much county attorney and county staff hours were spent on that, how much it cost the taxpayers of Carver County itself to defend. I've heard some of you say that you want to build a healthy community in Carver County, but last night on the television news it was reported that was when I first heard about the Chanhassen incident. It's clear to me that a number of Carver County residents would not be supportive of Carver County Sheriff's Department contracting with ICE in the way they were supporting the residents in Chanhassen that day. And I just want you to know, I want to be on record that my husband and I do not support the county contracting with ICE in any way. Both the cities of Eden Prairie and the city of Chaska have come out, their law enforcement departments have come out to let the residents know that while they'll be there for protecting public safety, they will not be supporting the illegal actions of ICE. So I certainly do not support it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Katie. I'd rather not state my last name for fear of retaliation by federal agencies.
Katie, where are you from?
I was just going to say I'm a resident of Hennepin County.
So you have no last name, you're from Hennepin County, and you're in a Carver County boardroom?
Would you like to hear why, sir?
Not particularly.
When,
We asked the public to identify themselves.
We ask you to work.
And so if you don't want to, we're less likely to probably listen too well, but
you,
we want to listen to our constituents. So
We all want to hear what she has to say.
let's hear it. We'll figure it out.
when,
Maybe you, sir, you can just keep it down over there, all right?
when Chris was speaking before and he said he witnessed someone be assaulted by an ICE agent, I was the one in the back that said that was me. Would you like to hear about it? Because it was in Chanhassen. It was in Carver County.
I'd like to hear about whatever you want to talk about.
Thank you. I live close to the border of Chanhassen and frequent your businesses often. However, this past Saturday, I came to your city for a different reason. Because of foreign invaders who were here committing illegal activity. I'm not talking about immigrants. I'm talking about the ICE agents who showed up at a construction site and trapped 2 men outside in sub-zero temperatures. Men that they didn't have a judicial warrant to arrest. Men who were there building a home for the community. During the brief time I was there, I was assaulted by an ICE agent. For any of you who may have been there, I was the woman standing outside the ICE perimeter, blocking the porta potty a particularly aggressive agent wanted to use. So he shoved me out of his way with both hands. Other observers rushed forward to help me, and ICE took that opportunity to escalate the situation even further by storming forward and ordering all of us farther back from the perimeter. When the ICE agent who assaulted me was done going potty, he came back to the same spot and stood holding a giant can of pepper spray menacingly. At one point, he got out his camera and started filming us, presumably in an effort to intimidate us out of exercising our First Amendment rights, which is why I would like to not share my last name today. Thank you very much. I'm 5'2", by the way. I have heels on, so I might look a little bit taller, but the agent was twice my size and wearing a gun. When I told Chanhassen police officers who were on the scene about the assault, I was denied protection or support. They told me multiple times, ma'am, this is a federal investigation. We can't interfere. One of them told me I should file a complaint with ICE. They did not ask me if I was hurt or if I wanted to file a police report. They dismissed me. This is not what it means to protect and serve the community. This kind of response, and worse, is why so many people do not trust local police. I have video evidence of all these encounters I've described, which I've been informed I'm not allowed to play during this meeting. But I spoke to a lawyer yesterday who is working with an ACLU team to put together a lawsuit against ICE for use of excessive force against Minnesota residents. They have many more examples besides mine, including the young Somali man who is a US citizen. You already heard about him being violently arrested by ICE in Minneapolis. The pregnant woman who was thrown to the ground and then dragged through the street by one arm yesterday by ICE agents. Pictures and video of my assault are also already being shared on social media by people I don't even know. These events are also getting national coverage. In case you missed it, my mother-in-law texted me last night to say Rachel Maddow was doing a segment on the Chanhassen ICE raid on her primetime MSNBC program. Good job, everybody. So if you're not yet taking ICE's presence and activities in our community seriously and considering how you want to position Carver County in relation to these thugs, you need to start. Chanhassen has won many accolades for being a great place to live and raise a family, and we all want to keep it getting better. I've heard from many people about the excellent communication of ECCS Superintendent Rathke to families regarding how the district will respond to ICE. You need to decide right now if your leadership will also live up to Eastern Carver County's wonderful reputation. Terror and anger are mounting in our community because of what is being allowed to happen. My own children are terrified and they're white. I can't even imagine what it's like for Black and brown families. I sincerely hope you choose solidarity with the local community against the creeping authoritarianism of this lawless federal regime. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else? Sorry.
My name is Pam Wentick. I live at 2399 Molnau Court, Chaska, Minnesota. I am here today to discuss the potential ICE contract the sheriff is considering signing to house detainees in the county jail. The events this weekend demonstrate how ICE intends to interact with our community. Your mission statement expresses a desire to make Carver County a place to live, work, and play. How do the events this weekend make Carver County a better place to live? Do they lower the cost of housing by removing an essential part of the workforce? Do they expedite more housing being available in our county? On Friday, a restaurant in Chaska had to close for lunch because their employees were afraid to come to work. Does that make it easier for businesses to operate in the county? Does the county get more or less tax revenue when a business is unable to operate? Parents have been afraid to send their kids to school. There have been ICE sightings at local bus stops. Does instilling fear in the lives of the community improve our mental health or make it worse? Does ICE's presence in our community decrease the needs that HHS is going to have to provide to our community? If ICE's work does not align with your mission statement, why are you allowing them access to taxpayer-funded resources to support their work? We are also frequently told that in the near future, the county is going to need to build a very expensive new government center because we just don't have enough room. Yet the jail is reportedly so underutilized that you have space to rent to the federal government. I think that we should do a study and analyze how we can repurpose unused spaces in the county to meet your needs. And ICE, who is going to receive an additional $75 billion from the Big Beautiful Bill, can build their own detention facilities. I am a frequent viewer of commissioner meetings. Many of you have professed your Christian faith from the dais. Let's examine some of what the Bible says about how to treat foreigners. The foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself, for you were a foreigner in Egypt. Leviticus 19:34. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. The king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did for the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Matthew 25:35-40. A national publication, the other 98%, reported on the event Saturday in Chanhassen. They had some impactful words. Neighbors, workers, organizers, people who understood instinctively that letting someone freeze to make a political point is cruel. It is not law enforcement. They brought blankets, hot drinks, food. They stood outside in the cold for hours, refusing to leave. While the ICE agents lingered below, the crowd did what the state, in this case, you guys are the state, would not do. They protected human life. They checked on the workers. They gave words of encouragement. They made sure those men were not alone on that roof. Isolated and expendable in the eyes of a system where the government treats immigrant labor as disposable until it decides to punish it. When you objectively look at what happened in Chanhassen on Saturday, which group, ICE or the citizens of Carver County, lived out the words of God? Does ICE reflect our community values? Today, I brought my 84-year-old father, Roger, with me. He is a Vietnam War vet who lives in Chaska. As he has been watching what is happening to immigrants in our country, he often says to me, I didn't fight in a war for this. Those words stayed with me. Those words have stayed with me and propelled me to engage. I understand that the sheriff can sign this contract independently of you, but you are all in a position of power and have the ability to engage. During your board comments, you could speak out against this contract. You could pass a resolution opposing the sheriff signing this contract. You control the power of the purse. You could tell the sheriff for every dollar he accepts from this contract, you will remove a dollar from his budget. History will not look favorably on this period of time. Men and women will be judged by their action or inaction.
Thank you. Anybody else? Welcome.
My name is Nicole Scaro, and up until a couple of weeks ago, I lived at 1683 St. George Street, Waconia, Minnesota, 55387, and we were told to leave under Jason Cameron and Carver County Sheriff for playing Mexican music. For 2 years, the sheriff, Sergeant Ston, Jason Cameron, and Carver County Sheriff worked with my neighbors to call the sheriff on me anytime I was outside listening to Mexican music and gangsta rap, to the point my children still tremor when they see a sheriff's car. It still takes me a lot to go outside of my new house, which I moved to a different county, because what your prosecutor's office, because since my husband allowed me to play music, they're trying to prosecute him for aiding and abetting disorderly misconduct, allowing me to play Mexican music. And when we moved, his attorney reached out and said, you got it. They moved out of the county because, yes, that was on official court record. That's what they wanted. They said, you know what? We spoke to the sheriff's office. We want them to not be able to enter Waconia city limits ever again. That is what it's like being a minority, outspoken woman in your county. I lived here for 9 years. My son died from cancer and was well known in this county. We donated tens of thousands of dollars to Waconia Public Schools in his honor. In their response, I have hours of ring footage of the sheriff sitting in front of my driveway, staring at me as I landscaped. There were over 200 calls, 22 court cases for music and Mexican music. I am a classically trained opera singer. If you go onto my Facebook page, you'll see. You want to know what my neighbors also called up police on me for? Singing outside. That's, you give this man any more power over minorities, it will be the definition of dangerous. And my life can show. I gave my full name and my full address because you can Google it. My videos are public. I am not making any of this up, and I've got 16 27-gallon totes of court paperwork showing the blatant discrimination by your sheriff's office against my family. So, this is, I can say what I can about being the daughter of an undocumented man in ICE. There are plenty of things. I am telling you, as a resident for 9 years, 2.5 of them were the epitome of hell on earth. I worked in anti-human trafficking. My husband is a 20-year military veteran. We have fought this world for justices that I assumed as an American I got, and I didn't even get it from the place I was paying taxes. So do not give him the power, because I guarantee you I will be back up here with a large lawsuit against you. This is verifiable, this is truth, and it was systemic discrimination, and it is in your county like a virus. And if you vote on anything to let it perpetuate, you are supporting it. So I ask you, what weighs on your conscience?
Thank you. Anybody else?
Good morning, council members and neighbors. My name is Jerry Leno. I have lived in Chaska, Shakopee, and went to school in Chanhassen for 28 years now, is how old I am. And as a child, I have had to have this worry every day of my life. Now, as an adult, I can't imagine what those children are seeing because I have had to see it myself. Today, I can honestly say that this is the worst situation I have ever seen in my lifetime. Families are afraid to leave their homes. Parents are afraid to go to work. Children are afraid to step outside. Our streets are quiet, not because they are safe, but because fear has taken over. Local businesses are suffering because people are staying inside, afraid that a simple errand could end in family separation. We have witnessed inhumane treatment right here in our community. A man was surrounded by ice for 4 hours. That is 4 hours in the cold, in sub-zero weather. He was left outside, isolated, powerless, and no matter someone's immigration status, no human deserves to be treated that way. That is not safety, that is cruelty. I can speak for myself, not in this community, but Scott County's police officers have racially profiled me since the age of 9. Families are being torn apart in front of their children. Parents are being taken away, leaving kids confused, terrified, and traumatized. This kind of fear stays with children for their life. As a parent myself, this breaks my heart. My daughter is a U.S. citizen. She is 5 years old. This Christmas, when she was asked what her wish was, she said, "My Christmas wish is for the bad guys to go away." No 5-year-old should have to carry that fear. No one should believe that their community is dangerous simply because they see parents being taken away. I want to be very clear. I am a U.S. citizen. I do not feel safe. Racial profiling has made people like me fear being questioned, followed, or looked at, or targeted simply because of how we speak. Citizenship should mean protection, not fear. Yet many of us now feel vulnerable in our own neighborhoods. Allowing Carver County Jail to use their beds for immigration ties our community to a system that thrives on fear, family separation. It sends a message that this kind of harm is acceptable. It tells children that this is normal. It tells families that their pain does not matter. This is not who we are. The people being impacted here are our neighbors. They work here, shop here, worship here, and contribute here. When they live in fear, our entire community suffers economically and morally. Public safety should never have to come at the cost of humanity. Real safety is built through dignity, compassion, trust, not fear. As of 28 years in this community, I am asking you, please do not allow Carver County Jail to house immigration and ICE and give them beds here.
Thank you.
You do not want to see what children are facing every day because of this. I have seen it my entire life, and if someone has the right to speak of what it feels like, I know what it's like. I know it might not touch everybody's heart, and I know there are a lot of people that don't believe in what we do. But if even one person can change their mind, that is a big difference as of today. Thank you.
Megan Marsnick from 803 Woodridge in Chaska. My husband is brown, and so are my children. I can move about this community and call it relatively safe, but my kids and my husband cannot. We really don't go anywhere in Chaska anymore. My son has been pulled over on my road for nothing, no reason. I had to come out in my bathrobe with his passport because he looked Somali. There was no reason. My husband and I don't go anywhere because, well, we're not going to go to Willie McCoy's anymore. That one's off the list, right? We're not going to go to Home Depot anymore. If all of these stories about racial profiling and racism don't move you. I don't know why they wouldn't. You don't have a moral compass. But if those stories don't move you, then maybe the economic factors will move you. Because we're not going to the places we used to go. We're in our houses. We're not going. We're not supporting the community. This community is going to fall because of the racism in this community. We're not going anywhere. And if you think it's just the people of color or the people married to people of color, it's not. Look at this room. We'll boycott. I promise you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for having me here. My name is Andy Drzdowski. I'm a disabled veteran, and I live in Chaska. I'm here because there appears to be a dangerous disconnect between the law, the sheriff, and this board. Last Friday, Minnesota's Attorney General issued a binding legal opinion confirming that the county sheriff does not have the authority to unilaterally bind the county to the federal government. The sheriff told residents in an email that has been distributed that the final decision has not been made, as if it belongs to him. It does not. And this is not a simple business deal to rent beds. When you rent a bed to ICE, you import federal liability. ICE has sovereign immunity, and we do not. They get the space, but our taxpayers get the lawsuits. This isn't hypothetical. We are already defending against lawsuits like Case 10, TAC CV, TAC 25, TAC 312. Suarez Varela versus Carver County and the Carver County Sheriff. Here is the truth. Carver County is not required to help ICE. Carver County is not required to assume federal risk. So before a contract is discussed, I'm asking for two things. Number one, pass a resolution stating clearly that only this board may approve federal contracts. And second, commit that no ICE agreement will be voted on until the full contract has been made available to the public for 72 hours. Taxpayers should not be asked to fund raises for conduct that increases our legal exposure instead of reducing it. This board has a choice today. You can assert your authority, or you can confirm you've surrendered it to the sheriff.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else?
Hello, my name is Michelle Davis, and Lisa is my commissioner. Hi, Lisa. I am a retired teacher of this year, Eastern Carver County, and I have some wonderful neighbors that informed me what was going on. You must understand that I also have had these students in my class. I am compassionate and caring. I also am a resident of this county for 42 years. I pretty much know all your background. I research, I read intensely. I know where you've been, I know what you've been doing, I read everything, okay? Correct, Tom. I know everything. I read, I'm a very educated woman. So my friends called me and told me what was going on. I cared about those people that were on the roof, because I am a Minnesotan. I know what happens. I know what frostbite is. I know what hypothermia is. The thing is, I was more interested in the ice. I wanted to know what they were doing, what their thought processes were. I'm not a person who gets mad. I'm a person who wants to learn from others. I want to create bridges. I want to know what their thought process is. And actually, to be quite honest, I got to know the really tall ice guy really well. And I also got to learn a lot about the Hispanic ice woman. Matter of fact, she asked me if we could have supper together. We talked about the Constitution. We talked about due process. We talked about racial profiling. We talked about their training 5 months prior to being President Trump being in office. So I understand contracts with billionaires. I understand it all because I read both sides of the story. But that day, I was on the front line, and I wasn't yelling, I was not screaming, I was not swearing. But Carver County Sheriff's Department was not there. They were hundreds of yards away. And when the family came and pushed through the tape, I have it all on camera. I could send it to national TV. Okay, and I haven't. I was the sheriff department. I told ICE to calm, take deep breaths, don't you dare. And at the very end, the Hispanic ICE person said, we need to have supper. They were pushing, they were going to spray the family that also had children. How would you guys have felt if that was on your hands? I should be paid as a sheriff in Carver County, a resident. And so I'm asking you not to put the ICE contract here at Carver County. I am proud of our county. I know how the people feel, and I know all the other counties in the state of Minnesota who have signed. There's not a metro one, so don't do it. If you do, I'm sending my footage. It's a threat, correct. On the most part, I love what Carver County does, but there's some times that we get our political beliefs involved and we should not. Okay, we're all good people and we need to embrace everybody. There should be no racial profiling in my community because I will stand up. I will be the sheriff. Thank you.
Anybody else? Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Jen Price. I am a resident of the city of Chanhassen. I am in Tom Workman's district, and many others have spoken about points that I plan to raise today. I simply want to add my voice to urge the county to not proceed with a new contractual arrangement with ICE. It's my understanding, I was wanting to educate myself a bit about the history of the county, our relationship, if we've had any, with ICE. And I believe that I learned that we have had past agreements, actually long-standing agreements, and only recently no longer have such an agreement. I don't understand the exact timing of that, and I don't understand the exact impetus for closing out or ending those contractual obligations. What I did want to say is that though I do understand that every county, municipality, and community has a responsibility to its neighbors and its area to be creative and bringing in revenue to do the things that we need to do for our communities. I understand that. I also understand that it is and can be a normal and important function of different levels of law enforcement to cooperate, to support each other with the ultimate goal of protecting their residents and the community in general. And I would just like to say that I do not believe that this is the way to do it, this being an agreement with ICE at this time. I think, as other people have very passionately spoken about, we are seeing practices that are both morally and legally problematic on a consistent enough basis. That can form, I have very strong personal opinions. I believe that that is morally wrong. I personally have those beliefs, but I also believe that it represents a risk that just is not appropriate or responsible of the county to take on for our community and our residents. I also have great concerns about the growing feelings of fear and concern for any number of our residents who I think every last person in this room, I want to assume goodwill, would overwhelmingly agree that the immigrant population in our state, in our cities, and our counties are net positive. These are people we want, who have long been part of our communities. We want them to continue to be part of our communities. And I think that should we choose to enter into another agreement with ICE at this time, we would be sending, to put it mildly, the very, very wrong decision to all of our community members about our priorities and our views of their humanity. I thank you for your time this morning, and I appreciate the work of the community.
Thank you. Welcome.
Becky Verone. I live in Chanhassen. Tom Workman is my commissioner. And I was employed by Carver County for 31 years in social services. I just want you to know that the people gathered here today are only a tip of the iceberg. We are collecting a petition to submit to Sheriff Cameroon. So far, we have 324 names on that petition. So there are a lot more people out in the county. These are all county residents, all of the people that vote for you, that support you. All of the people on this petition are saying, no, we do not want our jail to be used as an ICE facility to detain people. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Good morning, Chair Workman, Commissioners. I'm Sally Brown. I'm a resident of Chanhassen, and I happen to serve on the Minnetonka School Board as well, but today I am here as a resident. Just wanted to lend a little additional perspective because I think everything I have been thinking about has already been expressed here. I am the wife and mother of immigrants from Sierra Leone, people who, according to our president, are no longer welcome in this country. And although my family members are citizens, I can tell you that the anxiety level is sky high right now. And that concerns me a great deal as a spouse and a mother and community member to watch what they're going through simply because of what they are witnessing. Saturday, I had the opportunity to be in Chanhassen at the site of the construction site and observe what was happening. I had heard the stories. I had heard about the behavior of these federal agents, and to see it firsthand, to see how trigger happy they were with their pepper spray, walking around, shaking their cans, like threatening, when you have residents like me standing at the tape. Like, really? And I was also going to bring up the incident where the family came forward with a toddler, and the ICE agent held that pepper spray inches away from that child's face. I'm not kidding. Could not have been farther than that. And so that kind of behavior, I do not believe that our sheriff's department or any of you want to be associated with that in any way. I would run as far away from that federal agency as I could. And I implore you to take a stance against being involved in any way with these functions. I think that there might be some nostalgia from pre-pandemic days when we did provide some beds in our jail for detainees. This is not that ICE. This is a completely different thing now, and I say stay clear, I beg you. And as a woman of faith, which I have also heard many of you express, I also could not tolerate this happening in my community without standing up to it. It is not what I believe as a Christian woman. It is not what I believe as someone who looks to God for guidance. Thank you very much for the time.
Anybody else? Anybody else?
Good morning. My name is Abraham Ledesma. I live in Matt Uderman's ward. I'm a business owner here in the community. I've been living here for about 10 years. You know, I've been in Minnesota most of my life. I immigrated here from Mexico back in the 90s. You know, I just want to add my voice and say that I'm hoping that y'all don't approve this, or at least make your voices known that you oppose it. You know, I have to tell my wife when I leave the house and when I come back from work, because she's afraid I'm going to get pulled over. I'm a citizen, but she's still worried. You know, none of you guys have to, and ladies have to worry about that. Think about that. Please look into your heart. Our kids are afraid. My parents, they're here in Minnesota. They've been living here just as long as me. They're afraid to go to Walmart, for God's sake. Come on. Like, you have to look at your heart and understand that this puts our communities at risk. And a lot of people are just afraid of doing common things like going to the store or going to anywhere. Like, we're all living in fear. You all can make your voices known and at least make us feel like we're welcome in this community, which I hope you do.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hello, I'm Hunter Leslie. I've lived my whole life in Carver County. I guess 2 years, but otherwise, like I've lived my whole life here. I grew up here. Every minute of my life has been spent here, and I think it's kind of a joke that people are even talking about finances in this situation. This isn't like a talk of like, oh, is it economically viable for this to happen? We're looking at the fundamental question of human rights and the fundamental question of what it means to live in a free country. And the fact that ICE is able to do this on our day to day is it's frankly appalling. The fact that this is even existing in the United States today, and that it's something that we even have to watch happening in our neighborhoods, I mean, it's almost hard to believe that it's even real, because I was always taught that this isn't something that could happen here. But yet, just the other day, some of my friends, some of their neighbors, they were kidnapped by ICE just out of nowhere. My girlfriend at her salon, she has people in her chair crying about being scared to live their lives, go out into the street and just go about their day to day. And in the United States, you don't hear about that in the United States. So the fact that we're even thinking about accepting that in Carver County it's disgusting, and the fact that anyone can sit in a position of power and even debate like, oh, is it okay or is it not okay? I just can't even believe that that's something that we're engaging with, frankly. So fundamentally, I don't think it's economic at all. I think we're talking about if this is, as a human being, morally acceptable to allow this in our neighborhoods or not. And in 20 years, 30 years, towards the end of your life, do you want to look back and actually take a stand, or you just want to watch it happen?
Hunter, where do you
Thank you.
You didn't state what county you live in?
Say that again?
Where do you live? What?
I live in Chaska.
Thank
I
you.
live right out next to Clover Ridge Elementary School. That's where I went to school.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Anybody else? Going once, twice. Anybody else? Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Jill Randall. I hadn't planned on this, but I have to say, I live in Chaska. I've lived in my home here for 38 years. Before that, 5 years and 7 years in Chanhassen. It all boils down to due process. I look at what has happened with ISIS all over this country. Look what happened in Chicago, flying in with Black Hawk helicopters, vandalizing an apartment building. Not one person was arrested for that. And it's wrong, and I've been saying many times, I'm too bad I won't be alive to read the history books in 30 years from now, but it is wrong, and it's not following the law, and that's basically what it comes down to. We are a country of immigrants, and we need to stand up to that and do what's morally and legally right. Due process. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, anybody else? Yes, sir.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jay Bruesch, spelled B-R-U-E-S-C-H. I'm a resident of Minnetrista, which for all practical purposes makes me a resident of Carver County, since ain't much shaking in Minnetrista. I only have about a 10-minute thing to say, 10-second thing that I want to say to you, which is it's decision time now. And a bunch of people have spoken to you, and I don't have anything additional to add. Other than that, let me just say that I'm a white evangelical Christian, which kind of should make me the enemy. But I just want to remind you to listen to the words of Jesus that were already spoken to you today. As you do to anyone, the least of my brethren, you do it to me. All right? And we think of that as you decide today whether to allow ICE to have a base in Carver County. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Maurice Snodgrass, and I live in Chaska. And I had a little spiel to write today. I just got back from a trip to visit my son in Texas. But I guess what I want to say is my daughter lives in Amsterdam. She's been there 5 years. She bought a home. She's not ready to come back. I've been to the museums there. We don't want to see what has happened in Europe we don't want to see the concentration camps, and that's basically what these detention centers are. It's horrifying. You go there, you can see they've got these little little plaques in front of people's homes, and it shows where they were taken to and killed. They've got the Dutch Resistance Museum, which is extremely powerful. I went there a year ago, and that was before Trump took over and before it got as ugly as it has gotten. And it was so powerful. People were scraping in like 5-gallon plastic buckets trying to find anything they could get to eat. People were being in hiding. And they came, as they say, I can't remember what the quote is, but first they came for the Jews, then they came for the colored, and then they came, and then it's like, oh, I'm the only one left. I guess they're coming for me. So we don't want to repeat what happened with Hitler. And that's what's going on right now. We're profiling people, picking them up, and then nobody knows where they go. And she's staying there. She bought a home, and I feel that she's safe there. Do you really want your 30-year-old daughter to be that far away? In this case, I do want her there because she is safe. Thank you, and please do not invite ICE into our community.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Charles Lieber. I live in Carver at 511 Skyview Lane. I didn't come here intending to say this, but I agree with just about everything people have said. But the other thing that I've observed is your patience. And I just want to thank you for your patience in listening to all of this.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Barbara Brooks. I live in Marconia. I'm probably out of order, but I would just love to hear your response. Look at how we've responded. I would really like to hear from the commissioners how you're going to respond to all of this that's been said today.
If that was a question, the board during public presentations does not respond. It doesn't matter if it's about a property tax bill or a business complaint or this. We don't get into a debate at the board meeting about it, but we'd love for you to keep in touch with us any way you can. I thought Monique was going to be the only one to talk today. Where is she? And she did invite me to get together with her, and I'll find time. Hopefully we can get together and talk. There she is. Keep looking over your head, sorry. So, but no, it's a recipe for disaster to get into a debate and talk or back and forth over the issue. So we don't do that. We do appreciate your input. I don't know if everybody's done coming up. We'll have more of the person who said we're a pretty good bunch. Who was that, Charles? Charles, you can come back. But we do appreciate it. This is a complicated issue. Most of what doesn't have anything to do with the Carver County Board. Of course, we don't defend anything any law enforcement does that's out of line, out of order. They're not ordered by us. They're not ordered by the sheriff. So very little is in our hands. But when that,
it is not true, and you know it.
I don't think hooliganism, responding to hooliganism is going to work for you, miss. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. So when the board has a question in front of it, you guys will know that 4 days before it's decided on, and that's the way it works. Did you have something to say?
I did. My name is Rachel Lano. I live in Chaska, and we've been here over 20 years. And I've never seen anything like this before, and the amount of fear in our neighborhoods is astounding and embarrassing. We have, you have on your website translated into Spanish, and yet you're telling people you're not welcome here, but we're going to go ahead and use your language and pretend you are, but we're going to also arrest you and let ICE into our communities. It doesn't make any sense to me. You're speaking out of both sides of your mouths. And I want to call ICE what it is. It's a Gestapo. And if people were just, if the contract was put this way, we're going to allow people to kidnap citizens off the street, would you vote for that? Are we saying that that's okay? Because there's no due process. And if we are a constitutional country and you take an oath to the Constitution at all, then how can you go ahead and say that it's fine to just take people and then not give them due process? So I oppose any kind of partnership with ICE or using my tax dollars for that. I want to be on the right side of history, not the right side of history.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay, hearing none, thank you very much, and we're going to get on with the rest of the meeting. All right, do I have a motion for the agenda review and adoption?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Commissioner Lynch moves now. I do have two amendments.
Can we wait for the room to clear?
Yeah, let's wait. You want to take a 3-minute?
Yeah.
We're going to take a 3-minute break.
And then there's one. Yeah, it's a good venue. Did you see the
And I think we had an agenda review and adoption, and I think
That's with both changes.
with both changes, and I had Commissioner Lynch approve on the.
Wait, what are those changes?
The amendments
Oh.
you've got?
Sorry.
And who seconded it? Anderson?
Anderson did.
I seconded something like that. Okay, I'm good.
Okay, any other discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Approval, I've got Commissioner Fahey moving to approve the December 2nd minutes with a second by Uterman.
Yes. So moved, sir.
Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Community announcements. Let's start with Commissioner Lynch.
I'd like to wish everyone a very, very Merry Christmas, and the ice may look good, but it's not safe yet, so be careful.
We're not talking about ice.
It's not safe to go out fishing yet. It might be in Lake of the Woods, but then they just had to get a stranded guy off the lake too. So just be very careful. Have a safe holiday season. Thank you.
Very good. Commissioner Fahey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a heads up, if you haven't been impacted already, but Highway 212 is closed today between Cologne and NYA from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. So today and Wednesday, please follow the detours. And also, it was good to attend the AMC conference. It was a great opportunity to learn more and a lot of the breakout sessions that we were part of, and just to connect with other commissioners, and then also to be part of the MCIT award for Carver County within the state. And then Baylor Park events, snowshoeing and cross-country skiing. Hopefully the equipment rentals are going to be ready, snow providing on January 3rd at Baylor and Lake Minnewaska Regional Park. So definitely get out and enjoy those amenities within the counties, and then happy holidays to staff and the residents of Carver County. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Very good. Commissioner Uterman.
Well, Mr. Chair, you know, we're all part of a lot of things outside of the walls of these on Tuesdays. One of the things that I'm part of is workforce development. And so we got an update from Kate and our team. We're going to try and squeeze in one more meeting, but I don't think it's very favorable to have that a day before Christmas. So that's going to get moved. But she did send along an update. And one of the things I'm super proud of, and we heard it in some of the comments from some of the people in our public, is our trades program. Trades 360 has touched the lives of about 100 individuals from all walks of life. And so I raised that up as an example of good with our staff. I've had the opportunity the last 4 years to represent the county, being interviewing some of the local school kids, and particularly at La Academia. My kid goes there, so she's a fifth grader. It's her year to do this thing called BizTown, which is pretty cool. They set up a business, if you will, in St. Paul, I think it is, and they've got all these lead-ups to it where you have to interview the kids. They have to do special curriculum and other things. And so tomorrow I get a chance to go to St. Paul to see that and see the kids participate in that. I think in the district it's mostly fifth graders, but it's fourth, fifth, and sixth graders across the state. I just think it's a great program. And one of the things that I stand on is workforce development and talent pipeline. And this is an example of ways to see fifth graders participate in that. Everybody gets their job. And it was funny because I asked my daughter, she's 10, what she was going to go for, and the conversation came up, are you going to go for mayor? And she's like, no, I know what Papa and you go through. I don't want anything to do with that. But there was 13 kids that did an interview for it. So Henley's the one that won the ballot. I knew about half the kids. So it's good to see them involved in civic government. To echo what Commissioner Fahey said about AMC, there was a lot of breakouts that we had the opportunity to go. And typically the format is 7 or 8. The kids are saying 6 or 7, 6, 7 things that they can participate in. But I had the chance to see a presentation by Wright County on a talent pipeline leadership development that they've been doing. I think they said the program cost them $175 last year. They're going to do it again this year. And they've worked through some stuff. I know others have as well. I know our team has looked into that. And I know we were all at the legislative priorities. There's so many distractions right now to keep us from doing some of that stuff that is upstream. And I appreciate Lisa bringing the voice to the table of upstream. But leadership development was one of those topics. Other topics were autonomous vehicles, energy, including nuclear, and lifting of a moratorium potential. The need for a business and robust tax base even was shared that I think Minnesota is the 44th in overall tax competitiveness. And so while we talk about defensive strategies, I think we need to also look forward to proactive strategies, and I think a robust business tax base is there. There's a reason we build these roads. There's a reason we take care of the people in our community. It's so that we can continue to be here. It is a great place to live, work, and play for a lifetime, and I think that business community needs to be a little bit more of a focus. We talked about legislation potential to automatically make your homestead a reality, because right now I think everybody has to apply for it. It's a lot of work for the staff and whatnot, but there's stuff on the table that homestead exemption would be automatic and the dollars associated. Of course, this year it phases out at $517,200, which is just north of what our median house value is in Carver County. The Economic Development Award was listed. One of our peers in a neighboring county got the Commissioner of the Year Award. Roger, he represents us well. And then again, Commissioner Fahey had mentioned our ER team won the MCIT, and I think all on that team, including Sonia, would also say that for risk management, it's not just on those people alone. It's on the sheriff's office to take strides and do the things that they need to do. It's on HHS. It's on our other teams, parks and roads, to work together to limit our risk, and then maybe take some risks sometimes to do what's best for our staff. So it's good to get that recognition. Clearly, we don't do it for those reasons. There was at AMC a recap of the 41 reconstruction. I think that was reconstructed 3 times in 15 years. I see Eric in the audience. Bolton and Mink made that presentation, and somebody that they employed that was a former fire chief that did a lot of community development and outreach. And I think it's important to stay in touch with those businesses, not only when it's convenient, but when it's sometimes challenging. And then Ellers, we use Ellers for a lot of things here. They did a presentation about responsible future planning. And I'm happy to say that I think a lot of the things that Ellers has recommended that we're doing. We're looking out into the future. We're responsibly funding an expensive building, as one constituent said, and making sure that we look at that impact to the local taxpayer. I'll also echo what Commissioner Lynch said. Merry Christmas. It's a season that is the high of all highs for some people and the low of all lows for other people. So one last thing is Commissioner Anderson, myself, were invited and had a chance to go to the Project Linkage Christmas party. I think it's a 3 or 4, maybe a 5-year tradition that they do that. But it would be remiss if we didn't mention that there's a lot of people in this community that are absorbing a lot of things, so we don't have to pass it on in the form of tax increases. Our not-for-profits, our civic organizations, our places of worship. And so Kai and his wife, Heather, have spearheaded this initiative. They brought it together. Everybody's welcome to do it. On some weeks, there's 60 different organizations present. And so that's kind of the work of government that, as Tom says, is not sexy, but it's happening behind the scenes. To satisfy the needs within our community. We're listening to all topics. And the ICE conversation is a hot topic right now. There's people lined up on both sides of that aisle. Waste, fraud, and abuse is a hot topic that doesn't always explicitly come into the boardroom, but we have to talk about it. And so, anyway, those are my comments. Thank you.
Commissioner Anderson.
All right, thank you. Like all of us were at the AMC conference, I just do want to shout out to a couple of our staff members who presented at that. So Lyndon, you're in the room. Thanks so much for your participation. And Kate Probert also talked about SNAP benefits and that. So I'm always proud. And again, we are MICM. Well, anyway, we want to work. And thank you so much for our ER team who did that. And I think that Carver County light shined brightly at AMC, and so I'm grateful for that. One of the best sessions that I went to was on elections. The election person from Scott County bravely shared their story and how things went a little awry in the city of Shakopee, and what we can do as commissioners and as a county to ensure that our elections are transparent and run effectively. We're very blessed to have some of the best election minds in the state for that. With that said, also a Merry Christmas to all. Happy Hanukkah for those who celebrate that. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I will repeat the MCIT award.
At least you can say that. I couldn't say that.
I always think the I is insurance, but it's not. It's something else. Intergovernmental. But of 87 counties, somebody could like the county administrator of the year. It's based on maybe some politics, but I think the MCIT award is based on actual hard, good figures of a well-run and lucky county to have avoided some major problems and bring back some value for our taxpayers. It was weird getting our picture taken with that plaque. I was just happy. Ari, you took that picture, didn't I? I was grinning like an ape.
So do I.
But I loved it. Merry Christmas also. Happy Hanukkah and whatever else you celebrate. December 26th, Gopher football. One last chance to have some fun. Bad day to have a bowl game the day after Christmas in Phoenix. So I'll be camping at my casa for the game. Come on over and have some fun. Gophers win. That's all we got. All right. We do have a pretty big consent agenda. I will not be reading through it, but if I can get a motion for that.
I would move approval, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
I would like to add that you say we don't do the sexy things. How is 2.27 professional service agreement for Rusty Patch Bumblebee restoration and Tamarack area enhancement for Highway 5 project? How is that not sexy?
Yeah, agreed.
Well, it will be when I order the T-shirts. Then it'll be undersized, crop top for me. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'll second for discussion.
All right, I got a motion by Lynch and a second by Uterman. Discussion.
I just wanted to call out 2.21. I think it's within our decision-making, and I'm sure staff has looked at it to purchase things locally if we can. I think the contract is headed towards somebody that's out of state for that. But I think that if there's an opportunity to keep that purchasing local, I think that some of the points that were made by Open Forum about the businesses and supporting our businesses, I'd like to see us make sure that we're considering our local folks, if it's just a couple percentage points more to do so. And then to echo what Commissioner Lynch said on the bumblebees, I think it just impresses upon people. Again, I see Eric in the audience, and I know Bolton's taking care of some of our interests. How complex that project is. We'll probably approve the funding of that road, and the team has done just an amazing job. We don't have a full appreciation for how complex it is to get that thing out of the ground for a project that isn't easy on ours to do, but wouldn't be done if it wasn't for the state. So bumblebees or turtles or gosh knows what else, all the things you guys have navigated. So with that, I support the consent.
All right. Hearing no other discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. All right, regular session, item 3.1. This is a big one. Award of construction contract to CS McCrossan, Inc. for the Highway 5 project Arboretum area.
Morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Yes, big day today. Consideration from you to award a contract contingent on a couple things that I'll go through in a second. Okay. So yeah, as you mentioned, Commissioner Uderman, a lot of work went into a huge project that we are going to be constructing in the next couple of years in the cities of Victoria, Chaska, and Chan. So you can see on the map here, everything in orange will be under construction in 26 and 27, all the way from 80th Street in the city of Victoria. That's where the current fire station is, even though they're building a new one. There'll be a roundabout there, commercial, all the way east to Century Boulevard, past Lifetime, Rolling Acres Road, construction on that as well, and then a ton of head bike improvements throughout the area. It's a very, very large project with significant funding. So with that, which one do we use here? So brief project overview, summary of the bids, and then I'm going to hand it over to Eric Johnson, who's our project manager, to talk about the funding and maybe skip really quick. I know we've described the schedule and the staging a few times with you. before, but we can go through that as well for the public if necessary. The next step, we do have a few things to finish off before we get into construction, but we're very close. And then the recommended action for you all today. So on the screen here, I mentioned commercial. This is a rendering of the future roundabout as you enter Victoria, what the future will look like. In the background there, you'll see a pedestrian bridge that will go over the highway that connects both sides of town, which is very important to the city. So pretty nice picture there.
Lyndon, is that east or west? How are we viewing that?
You're looking east.
You're looking east.
Yes,
Okay,
so
that's what I just.
Victoria's in front of us, yep.
And sorry, Lyndon, so that roundabout is a part of this?
Yes.
Or- Okay.
Certainly is. What isn't a part of this? you could ask. Just big picture here, this is basically a high-level layout of the whole project phase. So the roundabout is on the left corner there, you'll see, and then on the right of your screen there, southeast there is the Lifetime Fitness Campus, so we end at Century. Significant construction on 41 itself. Also today, you approved a contract to do construction admin. We're also building an underpass just north of basically where the screen ends as a separate project, but at the same time, there'll be another pedestrian underpass on 41.
Are you talking by Century?
No, on 41 itself.
Oh, okay.
So does this clicker work? Yeah. Can you, that's this one right here, right? This one works. Oh, here we go. Right up here, we're building an underpass. Instead of an at-grade pedestrian crossing here, we're connecting a trail and putting an underpass here with Chanhassen. Separate project, but it'll happen at the same time. All kinds of underpasses on this project. I think total, do you remember off the top of your head, Eric, how many? 6 or 7 maybe. But then the bottom of your screen here, this is the work that we're doing on Rolling Acres. So to the right is north, so we're going down from almost from 82nd to the church up here by Interlaken, so a couple roundabouts. Significant project, a very nice improvement on the regional trail. And another underpass there with some serious retaining walls. And then we're also going to pave the trail to the west. Anyway, very significant work. We did a bid opening on November 13th. We got very good bids, I would say. So our estimate was $98 million. And the apparent low bidder is C.S. McCrossan. They're out of Maple Grove. Very large contractor, very reputable firm. They are constructing the 494 project right now on the Bloomington Strip. Them and Lunder are the main contractors there. So the timing works good because they'll be done with that first phase. They can come out here, build our job, and then I think phase 2 of 494 is going to be bid for year 28. So they saw this as a good window to mobilize their equipment, and hence we got a pretty good price, I think. So you can see we got some pretty big contractors bidding. There was 5 in total, but 3 out of the 5 came in under our estimate.
Hey, Lynn, if I may, I know that they're a big contractor on 212, and there's others that I thought would have been in part of the bid. Do they just not? Is it they're tied up on 212, or some of these other bidders? Or is it too big of is it a different project? Why wouldn't we seen some of the other names that we've seen traditionally as part of the bid package?
You're talking about Mathewitz?
Yeah, them or others, yeah.
Yeah, Mathewitz. We were surprised they didn't bid. I think they like rural grading projects. Okay. Move a lot of dirt. Well, there's a lot of dirt on this. There's also a lot of concrete.
Okay.
A lot of other stuff. So, and they're doing work all over the state. Okay. So they just chose not to go after this one. Ames, I was a little surprised. I thought they would come in a little more competitive, but this is, in their wheelhouse. Okay. But it's a good sweet spot from across, and they're a very good firm. So I'm very happy that they're the apparent bidder. So, so anyway, I'm going to hand it over to Eric. We'll talk about the funding package, and then maybe I'll come back right at the end for the recommendation.
Does Eric get less money if the bid's low?
I like that. Let's go with that. Yeah, right. It should go the other way.
Should be the other way around.
Yeah.
bids coming in low made our whole funding package just work even better than it did last time we were here. So now our total project cost is right around 117 million. So that's less than what we talked about last time. We have 16 different funding sources. They're on the screen there. I'm not going to go through them. We've leveraged over $100 million in outside funding. We have the federal funds maxed out for construction. So 80% of the construction is federally funded, and our funds are 80-20. With some of this extra room we had here, we also got to go deeper on the non-construction costs with eligibility. So things like the rusty patch bumblebee mitigation is fully covered by state funds. Wetland bank replacement. The consulting engineering time is mostly paid for through competitive sources. Even the funds we owe MnDOT for part of their work on the inspection comes through that. In addition, we have about 10% of the construction cost on hand for contingencies. So, if some unforeseen items are become apparent in construction, we have some competitive funds still here before it would kick in to be a county cost. In the end, the city of Victoria's cost share is 2.8 million and Carver County's is 6.6 million. So those are the numbers that have continued to decline as we've assembled more and more of these funding sources. So it worked out very good. Where we were even a year ago, those numbers have come down considerably. Project schedule. As you know, the last 2 years have been focused on getting the project ready for construction, completing the design, the environmental clearance, and acquiring the property needed to build it. Now, the next 2 years will be construction. We'll have substantial completion in 2 years from this time. Our construction schedule here's just a little bit more detail than what I just said. We're going to continue utility coordination and relocation now. Some utilities have already moved. We need to do tree clearing this winter to get ready for the 2026 work. And that'll go spring through fall. And that'll be focused more on the north-south routes. In 2027, Highway 5 will be closed, and we'll complete the east-west in that time frame. As you know, this is a major project, has a major disruption to all the travelers, the businesses, people who live along it. We've worked together as a broad project team to do a lot of planning on how we build this and how we stage it to minimize impacts and expedite the construction. So we have an aggressive plan, but we feel it's a doable plan. So to keep it moving, like this is where Lyndon mentioned, in interest of time, I could quickly breeze through this staging. It is the same staging plan that we reviewed in September when we were here. Or I could bypass this part of the presentation if you like.
We like this stuff.
Go
We
through
like
it
this
quick?
stuff, guys.
Okay. So from a broad perspective here, depending on the work we're doing on the project, we want to catch people early and far back, give them opportunities to avoid the construction zone if they don't need to be there. So catch folks in Waconia or on 494 or 212 and let them know there's alternative routes. And that would be the official detour, to catch folks and reroute them. There will always be a way to get through within the project zone, more of that purple area as well, alternative routes. Just wanted to mention that. But as we then dig in, here is the first stage in 2026. The red line work would be full closure. Orange that you'll see on the maps is traffic under construction. So the road remains open, but it's It's impacted by construction, and blue are the ways to get around the closures. So for our spring 26 to July, we're going to focus on Bavaria Road, that will be closed south of 5, and Highway 41 north of 5 will be closed as we build those pieces over the first 3 months of the project.
Linda, does 18 Lyman, does that stretch no longer called 82nd?
Correct.
It's now 18 or Lyman?
It's officially in process still. The city councils have some approvals to do to officially change the road name, but that's all happening here over the next couple months.
West of Bavaria will remain 82nd, though?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Or the name change that we're working on, that we're coordinating, is between Bavaria and 41.
Okay, so west of there would remain 82nd.
I think that's already 18.
That's county road.
Yeah.
Called 87.
We don't have to do it today, but I,
Whatever it is now.
okay.
Good question. I never thought about that.
Well, I drive on, what's the road that I go every day? Great Park.
Bavaria.
No. 10 is the same as.
Angler.
Angler is the
Angler.
same as,
Okay,
you
yeah.
know, and then Jonathan Carver Parkway becomes 11, becomes, yeah, so just for clarification, thank you. Thank you. Every day,
Let us tell you where you're driving.
every day, yeah. 10.
The second phase of 2026 then will, Highway 41 south of 5 will be closed and constructed. You'll notice, I didn't say it on the last slide, but Highway 5 from the Arboretum entrance to the east to Century, that's going to be built under traffic with lane reductions, 1 lane each way likely, as traffic's flipped to the north, to the south to build that, keeping it open. In the second phase, we're also building Rolling Acres Road north of Highway 5 and also paving the Lake Minnetonka Regional Trail. So that gets us to the fall. And the final stage in that is completing the roundabout at Interlochen and some finished work on 41 south of 5. So by the end of fall in 2026, the north-south roads will be fully constructed in their final form, open to traffic. So for winter suspension, everything's open until spring of 27. And that's when we close Highway 5. We're going to build the west part of Highway 5, so from downtown Victoria to the commercial roundabout, that will be built under traffic. That's the orange shading there, keeping access to those businesses. But the rest of 5 all the way to the Arboretum entrance will be closed. And, traffic detoured to the north and south.
And there's a good plan for Rolling Acres Road for people to get out of there when it's under construction? Is that going to be a mess?
Yeah, it's, I mean, we're displacing over 20,000 cars a day. And so we want to catch as many as we can further back.
I'm worried about the locals.
Yeah.
You talking about in this phase or the previous one?
Next year.
Yeah.
Previous phase.
Go back to the previous one there. Yeah. Yeah. That'll be a full closure in red on Rolling Acres.
Well, I mean, they'll have to be able to get out.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, yeah, the locals, yep.
So you're gonna start south and get everybody out north, and then you're gonna do the church in the north end?
Well, like for the regional trail, we're going to construct an underpass. So that'll be open cut. So there will be points where people who live south of the trail will have to go south through the construction zone, you know, to get to 5. Or if you're north of the underpass during that stage of the construction. I think there's going to be some changes as we go.
The good news, Mr. Chair, is it'll be a nice, quiet country road for a while, right? Because there'll be no through traffic.
Way to spin it.
That was some wild meetings out there.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be difficult, for sure.
I'm sure Commissioner Workman will appreciate all the calls.
I know those people well.
So as we progress in 2027 into July, the goal is, notice the west side just flipped to blue, that we finish from downtown Victoria to that new commercial roundabout, have that be done and open in July. Work will, Highway 5 will remain closed east of there. Work continues. And by later this summer, here's the next stage. So incremental completion to Rolling Acres Road, Bavaria Road by September is the goal. So there, from downtown to Bavaria, Rolling Acres would be open in its final form. And we have that last stretch, where a lot of that heavy construction is, including the causeway area through the Lake Minnewaska area. That needs that full summer. The next incremental goal is then by October that we have the new Arboretum entrance open and operational, that the signal at Minnewaska Parkway will be working. We will have Highway 5 westbound open to traffic, eastbound still closed for those final 2 months as that work is finished there. But by end of November 2027, substantial completion, everything open. As we go into 28, there will be some final cleanup and landscaping likely needed, but substantial completion by fall of 27. So that's the high-level staging plan there.
Eric, before you move on, can you tell us a little bit more about that bridge or that causeway? Is that just one big culvert per se, or in front of the Arboretum?
Yep. It is a column-supported embankment for about 1,500 feet over the Lake Minnewaska area, which means it's really the road. We're saving the existing road and road bed, really the road bed. The structure is stable, but we're going to widen it. So we need to stabilize through a lot of geotechnical work, put in all these columns along that whole stretch to support the expanded roadway. And so that's all with piles and fabrics.
1,500 feet?
Roughly.
The bridge?
It's not a bridge, it's more of a, so you basically drill holes about 6 feet apart on a grid.
But there is a gap or a culvert connecting the lake.
There's a smaller one.
Okay.
Yeah, much smaller, a couple hundred feet long. But most of it is a soil stabilization
Where do
product.
we find out what's under there?
How far do you, just out of curiosity, how far do you have to go down before you hit something solid?
I'm not sure what that one is. Do you remember how deep? 30 to 40 feet? Sounds right. The one on 212 by Bongards is 60. So yeah, you basically drill a hole and you fill it with concrete and you do this grid and then you build like a geotex or grid on top, and then that becomes the platform for the road. So it's almost like a land bridge, but you can't see anything. It's covered up with grid.
And will that be mainly on the south side of the?
Yes.
Nothing on the north side?
Keep the north, so there'll be a barrier in between, so that where the current road is now, it's already settled, so it's stable. It'll be on the widening, most of the widening's on the south.
But we'll put that large culvert through the north side.
Yeah, there's a separate bridge that goes all the way through. That's where do you remember what that one is, Eric? Yeah, you can't really see on this screen.
No.
Maybe go back to the first slide. Maybe go up there.
All the way, to the very first side.
Aerial, yeah. You see it on there? Yeah, yeah, right about there. Was that about 200 foot span?
Yeah.
Arch, bridge.
Yep.
Separate from this pile supporting the bank. We did a lot of work in the geotech, so we're very confident it's going to do well.
The Tim Lynch Memorial Bridge is right there, bike bridge.
Do you have to be dead for it to be a memorial?
Yeah, it's preferred.
So let's not go there, shall we?
So yeah, there are a few things, like I mentioned at the beginning, that we still need to finish. We're still working with the youth. There's a lot of agreements with the university, whether it's the bumblebee mitigation, the land swap we did. We just got to finalize those agreements, but they're in play. Oh, they're getting finalized. The DOT federal grant, this is a big one. We got $25 million DOT grant. That agreement's not signed by the federal government yet, but we've heard it's coming any minute. So it's kind of a big deal. That's $25 million. Luckily, that the way we're working out our funding cash flow is we're using that money kind of downstream, so we get a little time to get that finalized. We're using the other federal money first. So MnDOT cooperative agreement, you'll see that's why the award language is a little bit different. That's done. You guys approved it last meeting or the meeting before, but it's in the state chain for signature, and that takes time. So it hasn't been totally executed yet. Joint powers agreement with the city, those are done, aren't they? Pretty much? Yep, I think they're in the contract review process, pretty much done. Another big one is the Corps of Engineers permit. In order to fill wetlands, we need a Corps of Engineers permit. That one with the federal shutdown got delayed, but we're in good shape. We can't do any wetland fill until we get that permit, so we're hopeful that's coming in the next month. And then, of course, we're going to have a big open house coming up winter, spring to inform the public what's going on. So this is the agreement with the U. Actually, Eric, you want to do this one? I'll run through it. So the big one is the transfer of the Tamarack lands. If you recall, the agreement we made was the city had some property, 24.5 acres, mostly outlots from development that we acquired from the city, and we exchanged that for right-of-way property we needed along Highway 5 and 82nd with the university. And then they're also going to help us with the bumblebee mitigation as part of that agreement with the university. That's this area right here. This is where, right? Is this right, Eric? Am I right? The green and the yellow. This is where, and even this one is where the rusty patch bumblebee mitigation will happen. So the agreement will be with the university. It's in perpetuity. So you calculate the cost of maintenance forever, and then you bring that back to present value, and that's the agreement we make with them. And obviously, they are experts at farming, if that's the right word, but conservation. So that I think that's a really good.
Have we seen a rusty patch?
Yeah.
When they did the university, I think, did a survey a few years ago, and they found some in the ditch, dead ones. Have we seen any live ones? I don't know. I have in my yard. I don't know if it was a rusty patch, but I live in Bloomington, so they're all over the city.
I'm sure they'll find the spot when it's all done.
Could you catch some and let them go out here?
Did I?
Yeah, from your yard?
No, I didn't.
Okay, I was just wondering.
I think you should work on that.
So anyway, we're obviously going to have a very robust business and community collaboration with us. Ari and her team are going to be leading that, and then Bolton and Menk's going to assist. So it'll be, as you can probably imagine, quite a significant project and process for us to keep the public informed, keep the businesses informed. We actually have an on-site person. You mentioned that actually it was that 41 AMC presentation you went to. There's a person that's going to be on site. Is he a retired? The same fellow that did that. He's going to be on this project, coordinating with the businesses on the ground. So we did that in 41 downtown Chaska here. Worked really good. So with that, Mr. Chair, this is the recommended action for you all today.
I move to approve.
I think you got to read it.
I know, I need more time.
Should we read it, Madam County Attorney, out loud for $100 million? It's a motion to adopt a resolution that authorizes and directs the county engineer to award a construction contract to CS McCrossin, Inc. for $86 $1,617,274.89 for the Highway 5 Project Arboretum area after execution of cooperative construction agreement number 1058994 between Carver County and the state of Minnesota and upon pending finalization of the contract review process. And I have a motion by Uterman
Second.
and a second by Anderson. Discussion.
I was wondering that 89 cents, if we could just round up to $1.
No way. No way.
That would change the motion. Uterman.
So a couple comments. This is huge, right? Like, I don't know, 5 years ago, I think when I came in, we were saying that 82nd Street couldn't be done, and it got done. And I think we should point to, former Rep. Bo, who carried the bill the first time, and then I think Coleman and Ram got it over the line, showing bipartisan support for that. I think we go back to Congressman Phillips to give us initial money to study Highway 5, and sometimes we forget after people are out of office the things that they did, and so kudos to them. Sometimes you're lucky, Lyndon, but more often than not, you're good. The timing of going out for bid this was not coincidental. Others couldn't bid at the time, and we did. We went out to bid and we took advantage of that and hopefully scooped up a few extra bidders and clearly just short of $12 million worth of savings. I think that if you look at it in terms of what we saved the city of Victoria, potentially 4 to 8% of their levy, because instead of $11 million hit for them, it was less than $3 million, somewhere between 2.2 and 2.8, depending on what day you get them. But I know that they're appreciative of that at the government level. I don't know if the residents really realize that. I think that the investment that the board made, and I do say investment in the communications team, we're going to find major savings with you, leaning on you guys, not just for groundbreaking and whatnot, but communication. You did a good job for 41. I think you're going to do a great job when it comes to 5. A lot of learnings and a new young team trying to figure it out. So appreciate that. Business owners were letting us know clearly that they didn't want to be interrupted. So we won't necessarily see this with kudos in 26 and 27 and 28. But I think the initial thought that we had was 28 months of full closure on Highway 5. You guys whittled it down to 6. By piecing together all the pieces of the math equation that made it work. And so I'm sure maybe some of that will slip. But right now it looks like 6 months of full closure, 8 months of full and partial closure. And so that's millions and millions and millions of dollars of benefits to the business owners to get that open because nobody wants to close these down. And then we don't build roads for fun. And this is one that's probably has its share of pros and cons and different things, but big dollars at play, $86.6 million. We've got 212 going on in 41. None of that would have been done without your leadership, Lyndon, and your team and the stress that it puts on you and your partners. But we do it because we want a flow of traffic, we want safety, we want growth within our community. And so I know that that's real. And I guess I'd just cap it off with one last thing. I'd ask that as we do closures and learnings from 41 and other closures, that we continue to keep our businesses and particularly the residents that are on there informed. And I would specifically ask that we have like a link that's something simple, carvercounty.com/5business or whatever, so that when they drive in and they're frustrated for the week or two before they realize where the flow of traffic will go, that's always the most crucial time, that we have a QR code and we have a short link that they can get to, not, ABCDEFG 1759, blah, 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 but something really simple that we can communicate out and that they can find it at their point of stress. Because nobody really cares to go, 7 clicks in on a county website to find something that they wouldn't normally do. They care about it now, where their pain point is coming in and out of church or going to get their kids at soccer or whatever it is. And so you guys have been responsive. And as part of that, I also think that as you plan your open houses, consider hosting them at local businesses. I know Omni's a good place. It's a local brewery that people can participate in. I know the Arboretum's been a good participant and gives a benefit to the local taxpayer to get in for no cost on that particular day. But if we could be really business and resident centric, as we know that this is going to create some interruptions, and maybe give a little bit of that budget back to those local businesses as we plan those things. So thanks for being here and all the work that you're about to do on it and all the work that you've done so far.
Well, I know the marketing plan. It reminds me of back when the telephone companies were trying to get everybody on voicemail. And so they had a commercial and somebody called up Tom's Auto Body And the beep went off and it said, "Hi, this is Tom's Auto Body. We're closed right now. But if this is a real emergency, listen carefully. We're closed." I don't know how the QR codes, I mean, we're going to be closed. It's going to be tight and bad, and we're all going to be on 18 Lyman and 7 and everything else. It's going to be not fun. I think it's going to be worse than Engler and 41. Is that possible? Maybe not. But this is going to be sustained and not good. So
Much longer than that. That's
best to really prepare. I know I have. I've talked to everybody about it. 41 and 5 next year, and then the big E after that. So, but it's unlike Engler. It's very close to Commissioner Workman's house and places we want to go. So, but
Engler was just close to Commissioner Anderson's house.
well, that didn't matter.
Right.
You know, if I may, one more thing too. I remember being in when projects are this big, and this is for the benefit of anybody listening online. But when projects are this big, we have the statutory requirement to reverse engineer and try and figure out how we can pull costs out. And I remember one of those meetings, by chance I was there, and the question was that house that's on the peninsula that was built just north of the Arboretum. And at the time, if you guys remember, we were talking about having to get access to that individual, you know, a frontage road or a sizable acquisition. And at the same time, he was building a house, every right to do so. He had the eligibility. And I think you were there when we're like, what if we just push that bridge west a little bit? Because we needed to have water flow, and the DNR was involved and all that other stuff. And your team not only pushed it, you know, a couple hundred yards to the west, so it's a right in, right out, but kept pushing and pulled some cost out of it. I think overall it was $6 to $10 million of savings just by moving that proposed bridge to the west. And again, those things get lost in the details sometimes, but it's a group of a whole lot of people that are really close to it and then far away to find those solutions. So we're delivering a road that I think at one time was supposed to be north of $100+ million and a lot of interruptions. So again, kudos to you guys.
Okay, any other discussion?
Incredible project. Incredible project.
Let's get through it. Okay, hearing no more discussion, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Johnson, Eric. All right, item 3.2, resolution setting 2026 county attorney and county sheriff compensation.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and Commissioners.
Afternoon, Carrie.
The county board has the authority to set compensation, including salary and benefits for elected county officials, including the county attorney and the county sheriff. Minnesota law requires that the board set the salaries for these elected officials with regard to the responsibilities and duties of office, as well as the elected officials' experience, qualifications, and performance. In addition, court rulings indicate that commissioners should take into consideration salaries in similarly situated counties in the state. The recommended resolutions address the 2026 compensation for the county attorney and the county sheriff. County Attorney Mark Metz's 2025 current salary is set at $228,720. County Sheriff Jason Cameron's 2025 salary is set at $204,322. Market data has been provided for the county attorney and county sheriff positions, reflecting current year 2025 data. The metro area 2025, so current year average salary for the county attorney, excluding Carver County, is $227,862. Serving in this role since 2011, County Attorney Mark Metz's performance reflects substantial experience and expertise. Based on a review of the relevant factors for determining the county attorney's 2026 salary, it is recommended the board consider an increase of $16,010, which is approximately 7%. The resulting 2026 annual salary for County Attorney Metz would be $244,730. The salary increase suggested would recognize relevant factors for consideration and maintain competitive pay with regard to the market. The metro area 2025 average salary for county sheriff positions, excluding Carver County, is $210,513. Serving in this role since 2019, Sheriff Cameron's performance reflects substantial experience and expertise. Based on a review of the relevant factors for determining the county sheriff's 2026 salary, it is recommended the board consider an increase of $14,303, which is approximately 7%. The resulting 2026 annual salary for Sheriff Cameron would be $218,625. Again, the salary increase suggested would recognize relevant factors for consideration while maintaining competitive pay with regard to the comparable market. The action requested of the board at this time is a motion to adopt the resolutions defining 2026 compensation for the county attorney and for the county sheriff, and providing both with 2026 cafeteria benefits and HSA contributions at the same rates and in accordance with the same terms and timing as non-bargaining county employees.
So, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second on the sheriff and the county attorney's salaries. Any discussion? Commissioner Ruderman.
Mr. Chair, I think that sometimes we don't say it as explicitly as we should, but our number one priority in Carver County is public safety. And sometimes because it gets handled so well, we don't talk about it. We don't put it on our priorities list. We didn't have an item from the sheriff's office on our legislative priorities. It doesn't mean it's not important. It means it's being handled well. I also, for those that are watching, last 2 years, we decided in negotiation with our labor folks to give staff 7% each year for the last 2 years, and this is consistent with that. And then finally, I think sometimes people forget it, but sometimes when you come into an elected role, particularly the sheriff's role and the county attorney role, there's a pullback for somebody that comes in new to that role. And so in years past, you saw that both our county attorney and our sheriff came in at a lower rate than their predecessor. And so some of the years have been catch up from that. And so the risks and the costs to an individual and their family to be in an elected role are real. And I think this recognizes the work that these gentlemen have both done and will continue to do on behalf of our county. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Hearing none, we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. All right, 3.3, resolution setting 2026 county commissioner compensation.
The county board is also charged with the responsibility to set compensation, including salary and benefits for county commissioners. Several factors are typically considered when setting commissioner salaries, including market rates and internal salary history and patterns. Metro area market information was included in the board packet, which reflects Carver County Commissioner's current 2025 annual salary set at $89,633 in comparison with the Metro County average of $100,377. Comparison data reviewed in relation to the elected salary setting process includes the same counties referenced for purposes of Carver County's most recent classification and compensation study, which includes the 7 metro area counties. The county's current collective bargaining agreements establish a 2026 performance-based compensation system and general adjustment increase pattern, including a January 2026 general adjustment of 4% and performance-based compensation determined by each employee's overall rating on their performance evaluation, with no increase for needs improvement or 3% increase for an achieved performance rating. An increase of around $10,700 would be required to move the Carver County Commissioner's salary to the current year metro average. It is anticipated that comparable counties will also be increasing their county commissioner salaries with regard for the current market. It is recommended the board consider an increase that would reasonably move alignment toward the market average or at minimum avoid increasing the gap. When defining the 2026 county commissioner salary, the board could consider an increase of 7% applied to the current commissioner's salary in order to maintain a salary relatively aligned with the comparable county data. A 7% increase, which would be $6,274, applied to the current commissioner salary of $89,633 would result in a 2026 county commissioner salary of $95,907. The recommended resolution provides annual salaries to be set by the board, cafeteria benefits and HSA contributions at the same rates as non-bargaining employees, and monthly expense allowances maintaining current rates of $715 for the chair, $640 for the vice chair, $615 for the other commissioners, or amounts as updated and defined by the county board for 2026. The action requested is to define the 2026 county commissioner compensation and benefits and adopt the resolution establishing Carver County Commissioner salaries and monthly expense allowances for 2026, providing 2026 cafeteria benefits and HSA contributions at the same rates and in accordance with the same terms and timing as non-bargaining county employees.
Okay, I did have a commissioner talk to me about the idea that the expenses have not gone up in 7 or 8 years, I believe. I don't know if there's an appetite from the board for that as part of a motion.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I had talked with you about that. I had staff go back and look to see when the monthly expenses were changed. The last time they were changed was in 2017, and prior to that, it was changed in 2008. And both of those increases were $100 per position across the board.
And you would propose what?
I would propose another increase of $100 across the board for the monthly allowances, the monthly expense allowance.
Okay, are you making that a motion along with the recommended 7% increase?
It all has to be together. Carrie, is that correct?
I would
That
probably
would be a
defer to the
Jennifer
county
question.
attorney's office on that. You need to set the salary for the coming year. Potentially, you could do that through 2 motions.
In the action requested, it says county commissioner annual salaries and monthly expense allowances for 2026, unless you'd separate them, I'd assume.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, I think you could do it either way. I don't think there's a legal requirement one way or another. If you want to approve just the salary and have more discussion on the expenses, you could separate them at this point.
And when we talk about our salaries, Mr. Chair, and Carrie had mentioned that point, we continue to be below the average. I remember when Garrison Keeler came to my college graduation speech and spoke to us and said that everyone should be average or at least above average.
St. Thomas?
St. John's. That just made me think of that comment as we go to all the various meetings that we attend to, and there again to talk to different commissioners at these AMC functions that we took part of in last week, and that the comment to be, well, at least we should be average, and how do we get to average? Granted, if we do an increase of 7%, and then those other counties do X amount, then we'll just continue to be below the average. And I think the time that all of us spend as commissioners and the commitment and the various text messages and emails that we get, and we talk about public safety and things that take place in all of our families, it's definitely challenging.
Okay, is that a motion for the 7% and the 100 on the expense? I'll say that's a motion. Do we have a second?
Mr. Chair, This is the most uncomfortable we ever, all throughout the year, to say the least.
Earlier this morning, wasn't?
No, that was actually fun. I don't disagree with anything Commissioner Fahey said, and I agree with him wholeheartedly, but setting your own compensation makes me very uncomfortable. So I won't support the $100, but I will support the 7%. So if it goes through, I guess I will.
Okay, so I'm looking for a cleaner second than that.
That wasn't a second.
That was Commissioner Anderson, Commissioner Uterman. Okay, no. Okay, then it.
I mean, in fairness, I mean, I struggle because just the amount of money I have to spend in my personal safety, being in this job. I mean, I understand where Commissioner Fahey is coming from. So I don't want to, you know, in theory, I support it, but I struggle with both. So, yeah, I can't second the other $100 in expenses.
Okay, well, then the Fahey motion dies for a lack of a second. Commissioner Fahey, you want to amend your motion?
I don't think I made a motion, Mr. Chair.
I think I truly tried to help you make one. I was not successful. Okay, anybody else have a motion? Are we going to dig down to the chairman having to make a motion? I don't think he's supposed to, right?
No, Chairman can.
You could, but.
All right, I'll make a motion on the 7% increase for county commissioners.
All right, I'll second that.
Okay, got a motion and a second on that 7% increase. Any discussion? Commissioner Uterman.
Mr. Chair, sorry. In years past, I've suggested a formula because it is an uncomfortable conversation, and I've suggested a formula that took the last 2 or 3 years of staff average and then deduct 1/4 or 0.5%. So we're always a little bit lag versus staff, and so I'm not going to support 7% today. I think if we move to a formula, we can avoid the awkwardness in the future. I also think that some people have taken within their choosing to expense other items. Print cartridges are an example. I think, some individuals have expensed in excess of $500 a year in print cartridges. That should come out of the expense dollars that are associated, I think. I don't know if that was included in the language last time. But I think to make it cleaner, I think if we just tag ourselves to our staff and their well-being, it would be a lot easier conversation in the future. And it would also help us guide our decisions when we're making our decisions, that we should be invested in our staff and their well-being. Some of these people are working well past 40 hours a week to try and service our community. And so I've been in support of their 7-7 the last 2 years. I think I was laughed at last time I suggested 3 years in a row of 6s. I backed off of that a little bit. I said 6, 6, 7. I am in support of similar or comparable for the next 2 or 3 years as we have those conversations mid-year. So those are my comments and the reasons I won't be supporting the motion.
Well, if I can take a little history from the legislature, that's exactly what the legislature did. Too weak and feeble to raise their own pay, and so let's give it to a board and have them set it. And the gas tax is now set by the consumer price. So instead of me blaming a legislator, it's just, the computer, it's going up because consumer price. So I'm not a big formula guy, but gas taxes are going to go up every year all on their own. The legislature, I think it's shirking your duty there. And, to Commissioner Fahey, you get out of whack. Commissioner Lynch and I were here and didn't support a very large, if not a $16,000 raise the board took because we were out of whack. So it can go either way, I guess. But we're hired to make the tough decision. So anyway, anybody else?
Mr. Chair, just a point of clarification. You're proposing the full resolution. That's on page 98. Is that correct? Throw out the numbers, the 7% and the same expense allowance.
That's with the resolution.
Yeah, but your motion is the full.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-1.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Lynch.
I'd like to make the motion to recess as the county board and convene as the Regional Rail Authority.
Second.
All right, Commissioner Lynch has moved to recess as the county board and convene as the Regional Rail Authority, and that was seconded by Commissioner Uderman. We have to vote. Oh, we have to vote on that.
Oh.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Okay, sorry.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and board members. Dave Frischman, Property and Finance Director. On December 2nd, the Regional Rail Authority adopted a motion to approve the levy and budget for 2026. And my finance staff, I put together the RBA. Mary Kay was gone. When she got back, she pointed out that we did not adopt the resolution. And she asked that we actually adopt the resolution. So before you is a resolution with the same numbers, same levy numbers, same budget numbers, just administratively kind of cleaning that up. So apologize for that. But if the board would adopt the motion approving the resolution, that's the request for today.
Great explanation. With that, Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to adopt the attached resolution setting the Regional Rail Authority's 2026 budget and levy.
So moved, or second.
Okay, got a motion by Lynch and a second by Fahey to approve the resolution. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make the motion to adjourn as the Regional Rail Authority and convene as the Community Health Board.
Second.
Commissioner Lynch has moved to adjourn as the Community Health Board. Wait a minute.
Regional Rail Authority.
Adjourn as the Regional Rail Authority and convene as the Community Health Board, and Commissioner Lynch has Fahey has seconded that. Any discussion?
Commissioner Uderman did.
Oh, Commissioner Uderman did.
You're close. Been a long morning, sir.
It has. Any discussion? None. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes.
Board Chair Workman.
How are you, sir?
Board Chair Workman, Commissioners, County Administration, and those in the listening audience. Thank you for this opportunity to present the second semi-annual report to our Community Health Board. I will try to shorten my remarks in light of a long day, but at the same time want to highlight the impact that our staff are doing to promote the health and well-being of our residents as well as our business owners and others that have an opportunity to live, learn, work, and play and pray in Carver County. So I'm always impressed when I have an opportunity to start doing some research and preparing for this presentation. I'm overwhelmed often, and I'm reminded how proud I am to be a part of this community, be a part of our staff and our team, both our staff that work directly with public health, but also our internal and external partners. This is an amazing community, and I think even just how our community responded most recently to the shutdown, stepping up in order to meet the needs of those that live on little, in order to provide for the food insecurity, is a testimony to how we can work together. And through that, create that sense of synergy of making this the healthiest county in Minnesota. And hopefully we continue to do that. Normally I spend this time talking a little bit about the health status of the county, but I was hoping to shift a little bit today to talk a little bit more about what goes behind the scenes to make it the healthiest county. We made reference earlier today about all the stuff that goes behind the scenes. What you see is the top of the iceberg, but all that stuff, in order to see that part, goes under the water, and oftentimes that gets neglected. We are in the process of putting together an annual report. We've done that in the past. We haven't done it for several years. And I will be hopefully including more of the detail in that annual report and obviously make that available to the board. So I'll probably not go through all of that level of detail, but just more showcase the highlights of some of the programs that we do. The first one I want to talk about is communicable disease. Obviously, that was on everybody's mind during the pandemic. And I remember thinking about that between my wife, who was serving as the nurse manager of ICU at Ridgeview, and myself in public health, serving as the incident commander. We saw both sides, both the dark side as well as advocating for the prevention side. And we were heroes when that first started, and we were often considered villains at the end. because it was a very difficult time for our residents and our partners. And I understand that challenge. And through that time was the beginning of an erosion of trust, I think, and that has continued even to this day. And I'll talk a little bit more about what steps we're taking to rebuild that trust. Sort of reinvent government, if you will, at least from a public health perspective, to work collaboratively with our community in order to preserve the health and well-being of our community. A couple of the things that we do under communicable disease is that we pay really close attention to what's happening. What are those business trends? So it's a community disease surveillance and monitoring. We actually do a monthly situational analysis report. We have our data health specialist along with our communicable disease content expert review what's happening, and we do a report to our team to so we're all up to date on what's happening about various diseases, as well as those policies and guidelines that can affect the impact that we're having. We work with Minnesota Department of Health on case investigation and contact tracing. And one of the interesting things that we had to focus on this year is actually in response to pertussis. We did 53 contacts, and there was about 45 cases of pertussis in Carver County this year. Across Minnesota, there was over 1,300 cases, which was considerably more because the previous year we only had 147. And of all those 1,360, 25 of them ended up hospitalization. So obviously being mindful of our community disease is an ongoing concern. The other area in response to that is our immunization program. We work obviously collaboratively with both our health clinics, but also, pharmacies provide that variety of different vaccine programs. And of course, with the pandemic and the anxiety associated with that, many people were beginning to not necessarily get all their children immunized, and we were beginning to see a significant drop-off on the immunization of our young people as well as adults. And I think that's part of the reason why we saw an uptick in measles, an uptick in pertussis, and also an uptick in chickenpox or varicella as a result of that. But our team has really been intentional about working with our schools, working with our health clinics, working even with the pharmacies on how can we sort of build that sense of trust in the value of the vaccination program so we can increase the rate, and we've done that. And that has been remarkable. And I think if we hadn't done, I think we would have had a lot more cases of communicable disease in our community. The other area that we're always concerned about is tuberculosis. And so we often are working with those who have been diagnosed either with latent or active TB to make sure that they're taking their medications as prescribed to reduce the risk for the rest of us here in the county. The other area that we focus a lot on is chronic disease and injury prevention. One of the things I'm always amazed about is we even help families figure out what's the best way to fit their car seats. And for those who struggle financially, we also have a program to provide car seats for them so that their kids can be safe. I think you all can appreciate how many lives have been saved as a result of proper use of car seats, as well as seat belts over the years, and we would be a part of that. The other area that we work with to reduce the risk of chronic disease is our commercial tobacco program. We provide training to businesses, and I think we provided 12 programs to 11 businesses to help them learn how to do the appropriate carding, how to so that they're legally involved with the sales of those products. And as a result of that, even in Chaska, we had 100% compliance based, I think, a lot on the training that we've done, and that's good. The other area we work on now, we have a new grant with cannabis and substance use prevention, so we're hoping to work with the schools and others on the prevention side of that, providing educational materials, looking at working together for programming so that kids can be well informed about the harms and dangers of inappropriate substance use, and again, to try to keep them healthy. The other area I think that we've really begun to shine in is how are we handling the funds associated with the opioid settlement agreement. We were a little slow on the upstart. We had to get a few things settled. We also wanted to see kind of where the landmines were by what others were doing. And so we learned, I think, both from the successes and the challenges that other communities did to put a system in place for us. And it was amazing. Last year we had sponsored 2 community programs. I think we had 9 internal programs within the county that we used those fundings to help support across a variety of services. And I'd love to be able to come back at some point to present just on how effective that program has been and how we've leveraged other funding and other sources to maximize its impact. One of the things we've been hoping to do for some time, but it's been challenging with capacity, is how do we address asthma in our young people especially, and so we're hoping to be launching that program next year. The other area, focus area, of course, is wellness initiatives as well as emergency preparedness. And one of the things that stand out here is listed up there is our communities of belonging. I think I've shared with this group before that of my 30 plus years, 40 plus years now in public health, healthcare, as well as education and other areas, I've really come to appreciate that we're hardwired for three things. We're hardwired for a need of safety. Commissioner Uderman, you referenced that before. We're hardwired for a need of significance. And I think you'd also enjoy this, Commissioner Uderman, is that we need to realize that we are hardwired for a sense of mattering. We matter. And there's two sides of that coin. One is that unconditional positive regard for people, regardless of who they are. The other side of that coin is providing opportunities for them then to matter to other people. And that's a sense of contribution. And I really understood the value of that when I was doing some consulting in what is now Southwest Metro. Because we would have kids that were some of the most challenging kids be served at that school. And it wasn't until we gave them an opportunity through a program called Service Learning that they could have a meaningful contribution to the issues and challenges that are happening in the community that changed them around. And all of a sudden you realize that a significant change in their behavior and their willingness to pay it forward to help the community. So that sense of contribution is that other half of significance. And the third area is that sense of belonging. When we feel like we generally belong and don't have to struggle to fit in, we are more willing, we feel less anxiety, we're more motivated to be a part of the solution, and as a result of that, we can contribute to making this a better place to live for all of us. So I'm really appreciative of the Commissioner's support for that initiative, and a lot of our programs now are sort of how can it help foster a sense of communities of belonging. And I may have shared last time too, one of the conference I went to on emergency preparedness, the keynote speaker who got his doctorate in looking at what are those factors that influence a community's ability to both prevent harm from a natural disaster and what are those things that help mitigate or recover at a quicker pace. And he did this work internationally. He looked at Katrina, he looked at the tsunami, he looked at a variety of other public health, but disaster kind of events. And he said there was a direct correlation between the amount of social capital and the reduction in deaths and the speed of recovery in a community after a natural disaster. And that essentially is what communities of belonging is. How are we cultivating a sense of social capital? And that's neighbor helping neighbor, knowing each other, building that trust, that it not only helps reduce mortality associated with natural disasters, it helps improve the recovery. And I think that concept can be transferred to almost everything that we do. We've been a county that's had an Office of Aging for some time, and then a lot of the folks from Office of Aging are also working with the communities of belonging, and that has helped initiate the senior commissions in almost all of our communities across Carver County so that we can be very intentional about what are the needs of our aging population, because that's where we're headed, right? And how can we be more responsible, but equally important is how can we solicit the help and the engagement of our older adults in part of that solution. And that's what the Office of Aging really tries to help. The State Health Improvement Partnership Program, or SHIP program, is really designed to focus on those elements that reduce the risk of chronic disease. And we've been real fortunate in working with a variety of partners. We've always tried to allocate most of that funding to support the community itself and to work with them in order to do a variety of programs to promote health and well-being. And that also is worth a whole presentation on itself, but I won't get into that. Food access, again, we've done an amazing amount of work. I think I referenced it earlier with our response to the federal shutdown. But just to kind of get briefly an idea with our work on that, we helped involve 120 volunteers that put in over 1,200 hours, and we provided over 105,000 pounds of food distributed, accounting for almost 88,000 meals. And what's also nice about that is that the 95% of the families that participated in those programs said they ate more vegetables and more fruits, and they felt they ate healthier as a result of our distribution initiatives. So we weren't only just providing food, we were also helping encourage them to make healthy choices as it related to those food. The other area is innovation grants. We were a competitive bidder for that from the state, and we've won that now 2 cycles in a row. And that's designed primarily to work with our community partners, especially those partners that are focused on working with the most vulnerable and marginalized communities in our communities. How can we work with those organizations that have a greater impact on helping those people that are struggling? what the Heart Safe Community is a relatively new program that we're working with now. And the intent of that program, it's a multi-sector public health effort aimed at improving survival rates from sudden cardiac arrest. And so we're working with the Ridgeview, we're working with other folks to see how can we increase awareness, how can we, about sudden cardiac arrest, what can we do to promote the use of AEDs, what can we do to have more people trained, how can we develop a better response system in place so that when people are struggling, we can have more immediate response. And so that's been something that we wanted to do for a long time, and it's nice that we're beginning to resurrect that as well. And then emergency preparedness, obviously we learned a lot during the pandemic. We're hoping to institute a lot of those initiatives so that we'll be prepared for the next one, and hopefully prevent the next one, but at least be prepared when it happens. We've strengthened our partnership with emergency management because obviously they've gone under a new personnel change over the last couple of years. And then we're also working with our other partners. We also have a very robust Medical Reserve Corps, or MRC, and providing opportunities for them to volunteer, pay it forward, if you will, to help out even during non-emergency times. And that leverages our staff to be more impactful and make a difference in the community. And the other area listed there is the Health Alert Network. We work with the Minnesota Department of Health to let our health partners know when they should be mindful of something that's brewing, that's something that could be concerning, so that they would recognize it earlier and able to respond. The next major area of our work is in the area of maternal, child, and family health. Child and teen checkup program is a way to work with clinics so that they know how best to screen for health issues with kids at different ages. We work with parents so that they're mindful of that change in growth and development and what to look for. We provide direct in-home family visiting, especially for higher risk pregnant and parenting parents and moms. And that is probably very significant. That's sort of my history in public health. My master's project was actually looking at the correlation between frequency of visits during maternal child health and child outcomes. And there was a direct correlation that we're more apt to reduce the risk of child maltreatment. We're more apt to reduce the risk of delayed learning when we can have and work with those families early during those critical first couple of years of life. And so that's one of the programs that we provide. We also do lactation support for people to help promote breastfeeding. We do newborn high-risk outreach programs. So when we get lists of the birth data from the state, we reach out and just let people know that we're here. We kind of suggest, we do often do some screening to help identify issues that might identify some of those risk issues early, and then to make sure that parents are fully aware of the resources that are available for them. And then the other thing that we've just started doing a little bit more recently is the maternal substance use prevention and early intervention. We're working with professionals at Ridgeview Medical Center. We're working with our child and family team here on how can we provide both early identification, intervention, and support for those moms who might be struggling with substance use to reduce, again, the negative impact that could have on their children. The other area now is environmental health. One of the main areas that we focus here is the public health nuisance program. It's really the only regulatory function we have as a local public health agency. And that is basically working with families that are struggling to keep their house fit and sanitary in order to support healthy living. And just to kind of get an example, that sometimes goes up and down, but we had 24 inquiries, almost 2 a month, of referrals usually from family or community members or neighbors who are concerned about somebody and the welfare of their house. And so we go in and do an assessment and make a determination on the level of safety of that house and what needs to be done to sort of clean it up, if you will, so that it continue to be safe. And then I already think I talked about the food rescue program, but this is sort of what's also, we partner with environmental services, we partner with several other communities and the food shells to have a way to sort of rescue food, if you will, like food that was being it's going to be tossed out either at grocery stores or at restaurants, but it's still healthy. And as long as we can just repackage it and provide it for those in need. And then also for that stuff that we may not be giving to humans, we can also help with our farmers to use that to supplement some of the animal feed. So it's a nice way of reducing the waste in our food system. From my understanding, the last report I read, almost 40% of our food that we eat is wasted in our stream from from the time it's harvested to the time that it ends up in a person's home. So if we can help reduce that, that not only reduces food waste, but it's also repurposing that food for health and human consumption. And then finally, we also are involved in reducing the risk associated with childhood lead. And I won't go into too many details there. The next major area of our concern is the public health infrastructure and support system. I think I've shared quite a bit with this group before about our community health assessment and our community health improvement plan. So I won't take much about that. Obviously, we have a very robust data analytics. We're fortunate here that we put a very strong emphasis on our ability to understand the data, to collect the data, and to report on the data to help inform our decision-making as we move forward. The other area we focus on is communications, both in community outreach and engagement. We're working with our communication team, and that's going to become ever increasingly important, obviously for a lot of the things that we talked about before when we're talking about highway construction, but also I think it's a way for us to get our messaging across, but also to be responsive to the concerns within the community, and hopefully that will go a long way in really fostering a sense of trust. Information referral, again, when people have questions, they can call our hotline. It's not always answered. We don't have the personnel capacity to staff that all the time, but it's an answering system where people can call, express their concerns, their questions, and then we have a nurse that responds to that on a very timely basis, and then they will follow up with that person to answer their questions as best as they can. And then we're also really focused now on workforce development. And that includes a whole variety of things. It improves knowledge and skills of the staff. It better helps residents improve their health. It's both recruiting, retention, and professional development. And we're very intentional about that as well. So moving forward, what are some of the challenges that we see for 2026? These are similar to what I may have shared before, but a couple of things that we're really concerned about is the changing public health landscape and funding priorities. I think we've had a lot of conversations about how the feds and the state are going to affect us. I think I shared before, almost 55% of Minnesota Department of Health's funding comes from the feds. Roughly 30 to 35% of local is feds. It could have more of an impact depending on what happens with MDH. So that obviously is something that we need to be responsive to. We've talked about changing population growth. We're getting older and more diverse, and we're growing. So, we're more people, different people, as well as older people. And so that can be a real positive opportunity if we get in on the front end of that and embrace that and work with those folks to help us find those solutions so that they can feel more comfortable and provide a great opportunity to contribute. The other area is increasing risk of both chronic and communicable diseases. We've heard about that a little bit. Increasing capacity to respond to community health, public health emergencies. I shared a little bit about that as well. Obviously expanding our substance use and opioid settlement program, and we can talk more about that at a later time. And then finally, cultivating communities of belonging and trusted relationships. And this kind of, this leads me to what are like the four core questions that are driving our response? One is, how will you effectively meet the growing needs of our changing population and ensure that we can do so within an evolving socio-political environment? And as even just this morning, the challenge of this morning, what are we doing to engage our communities to develop a trusting relationship so that we can work together in a meaningful way that promotes optimal health and well-being? And so this includes specifically, includes our current and future residents who are more likely to experience health challenges due to the circumstances, which makes it very difficult for them to meet the needs of their own. Obviously, we're one of the more affluent communities in Minnesota, and we are the healthiest community in Minnesota. But not all of our residents have a chance to take advantage of all that as best they can. Public health, I think, is one of our unique charges is to make sure we're working with all of our residents, including those that might be more marginalized, that live on little, so they can be fully engaged in our community and be a part of that contribution, instead of having difficulties with access and utilization of services. The next question that drives us is, how will you effectively train, develop, and support a strong public health workforce? This includes, like I mentioned before, staff recruitment, staff development, staff self-care, staff retention, and filling staff vacancies. How will we define a department's scope of work to operate effectively and deliver on the core public health responsibilities for our residents, even under uncertain and changing circumstances. And this includes both our structure and function, our procedures, policies, practices. We're developing a whole new strategic plan process that's going to be fully aligned with the revised core public health functions. This is going to improve our practice. It's going to provide the metrics for continuous quality improvement. And equally important, it will make it easier for us to report back to the Minnesota Department of Health on our required annual reporting. And then finally, how will we ensure that we are consistently practicing effective communication and engaging with community members and our partners? And this includes obtaining and maintaining accurate, timely, science-based data information, and that has been subject to question lately. So how are we vetting that to make sure that we're providing accurate information to our partners and to our residents? It involves growing our ability to contribute local data to tell our own public health story. We may need to have more involvement in actually on the primary data collection side. Instead of just reporting what we hear from others, we might need to be more involved in the actual data collection ourselves. And we do that through listening sessions, through key informant interviews, through randomized adult health surveys. This also includes strategic and creative communications and planning for effective delivery of our messages for each intended audience, realizing that people hear differently, different things are important, and how are we tailoring our message to resonate with those different target groups. And finally, it involves engaging with segments of our population where we're not currently well integrated to communicate the work of the department and also cultivate and build that sense of trust. And I was just talking with Ari earlier about how we work together, and we're really fortunate to have her and her team, Amber, to help work with us on delivering those messages to the public. Here are some of the key strategies we feel will be more effective in rebuilding that sense of trust. One is expanding our capacity for community communications and community engagements, which I referenced. Key objective will be to help people understand that public health is not something being done to them, but rather public health is community empowerment and developing relationships to make a healthier community. We work alongside our residents and our partners. Continue to build upon our current social media, newsletters, and in-person advisory committees and community events. So we have multiple ways of having that, cultivate that two-way sense of communication. And then finally, collaborate with our communication department in developing 7 short vibes, as they say. I suppose it's been videos, but I like the word vibes. That was a typo. Surprised I missed that. But maybe I like the word vibes. So we're going to create 7 positive vibes, right? To be released about every 4 to 5 weeks. And I would like to, if I can get it to work, I did ask the communication department, can they just give me a little trailer of what we can expect? But it's going to be a nice video, short video, interactive, well, not so much interactive, but short video about the various things that we do in public health, and again, to build that awareness, cooperation, ultimately to greater trust. So I don't know if there's a way to click on that.
Are you sure that's not just slang and you want to show us how hip you are?
Hey.
You know, he is.
And I was going to wear my holiday tie, but I thought probably that wouldn't be appropriate.
We
for
would
this
have
group,
loved
but
your holiday tie.
There you go. So I don't know, is there a way to activate, if you just click on
The
that.
the vides.
On that, the traders, yeah, just click on that. And it's just about 55 seconds, and that will conclude my presentation today.
Richard, Colin can make anything happen. Colin can make
No,
anything.
I thanked him earlier.
Isn't it Colin today?
Oh, well, okay. Well, never mind. We can make that available as a link to each of you. But it just talks about a little bit about what public health is about and kind of a teaser of what's to come. So that's all that there is. But with that, I would surely entertain an opportunity for any questions or comments that you may have.
Any questions?
I have 2. Thank you. I know we're getting a little later than we normally are, but we know that based on birth rates and the relative affordability of Carver County, that there's fewer kids up and coming. It impacts our schools. It impacts the vibrancy. It impacts costs. Is there anything we can do proactively to address that? And then my second question may have something to do with that as well. I know we've said on the board that you can't compel somebody to want to do something. Oftentimes, unless you're building a foundational trust, it takes a long time. For instance, I know Commissioner Fahey had talked about moving from $100 to $200 in our health program. If people don't want to go for the walk, or if they don't want to go check the box, if they don't want to do their things, you're not going to do so. So is there anything within public health that we can help, that you see is working elsewhere, that we can help compel people to do the things we think will work to ultimately get us to be a healthy organization so we can bring our costs down and we can pass those dollars forward?
It's a good question. Well, a quote that came to my mind when you're talking about that, you can't force a horse to drink what you can salt their oats, right? I mean, what are we doing to, and I may not have gotten that quote just right, but what are we doing to create the desire? People support what they help create, you know, and people also support what they value. And how are we communicating with our residents to show the value of engaging in healthy activities, to show the value of community engagement and being part of a group in order to make their place a better live for everybody? And so I think that then people are more willing to do that. There's another quote that's been really influential in my career by John Maxwell, is when you have hope in the future, you have power in the present. And while that matters, especially with our more marginalized community members, is that what are we doing to give them hope? Because while hope is not a strategy, it's surely a motivator. And it gives them the willingness and the eagerness and the commitment and the passion to do the tough things in order to get to where they know now they can be. When we worked with those at-risk kids at the Southwest Metro, they had no hope, right? They were considered a problem, and they saw that's how everyone viewed them. When we put them in a position to make a difference in the community, all of a sudden now they says, you know, I matter. I can make a difference. It gave them hope, and then they were willing to do better in school. They were willing to follow through on their projects, and they had a better option because now they had hope. What are we doing to cultivate that hope? Anytime we work together as a team, we obviously are going to create a sense of synergy, and that by definition is going to save money. Like even our SHIP program, considering, you know, we gave out over $200,000, a lot of money, but we leveraged probably 4 to 5 times that amount in commitment by the partners to contribute and be a part of that project. So that's just one way I think we can help both save money, invest in the future, and improve our community engagement, and then build trust.
Okay. That it? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Scott.
Commissioner Lynch?
I'd like to make the motion to adjourn as the Community Health Board and reconvene as the County Board.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Lynch to adjourn as the Community Health Board and reconvene as the County Board, and it's seconded by Commissioner Uderman. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, year in review. Is it tradition to go stand at the podium?
Up to you, Mr. Chair, but yes.
All right. This is difficult every year because I'm going to read a bunch of stuff off that you already know about. So, but we'll see what happens.
Let's do it anyway.
I'll try.
You know, as you're getting to the podium, I wish a lot of the people that were here earlier would have a chance to see this.
Well, I'm sure they're tuning in.
And I'll be sharing the contents. I know that you guys do it. Dave, your team does a nice job of pulling this together twice a year. So thanks. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Carver County 2025 year in review presentation. It's been another outstanding year in Carver County. We completed many key projects and continue to be highly ranked in terms of the happiest and healthiest county in the entire nation. This year, I'm especially grateful for the collaboration and cooperation between Carver County, its cities and townships and state and other agencies. And of course, thank you to all of our staff, elected and otherwise, and our county commissioners. This year, Carver County Public Works delivered major progress across the county, from fully opening the Highway 41 and 10/Engler corridor with new roundabouts and pedestrian underpasses to advance the 82nd Street connection that will ease congestion. We opened the rebuilt Highway 11. This was not a fun one for me in Victoria, between Highways 5 and 7, improving safety with wider shoulders and modern design features. And we constructed new roundabouts at Highway 10, Waconia Parkway North, Victoria Drive and Pioneer Trail, and Marsh Lake Road that help traffic move more smoothly and make our trail connections even stronger. We also moved into year 2 of 3 on the major Highway 212 expansion between Norwood, Young America, and Cologne, continuing work to complete the final 4-lane segment of this critical regional corridor.
Mr. Chair, you might want to click through the slides.
So I was being told to do that?
I guess so.
He has to do it all. Yeah. There we go.
Put on a clapper.
Okay. I'm going to have to start over and read everything again.
No, sir.
Okay, we're going to be on slide 4. What is that? 3? Look at that. This year marks several key improvements across our parks and trails. At Lake Minnewashta Regional Park, we replaced the aging facility with a new creative playground, which opened in spring and has seen strong community use. That play area there up on the left was absolutely amazing when I saw it, laid eyes on it. In Chaska, the city led the Circle the Brick Trail and Highway 41 underpass project, realigning the Minnesota River Bluffs Regional Trail off the levee and through downtown, enhancing connectivity and safety. I love that project, although I don't mind riding on the levee back there. In Waconia, we completed a new trailhead facility along Highway 10 for the Dakota Rail Regional Trail. Addressing access and safety concerns, usage has been consistently strong since its fall opening. We also partnered with Scott County on the Miriam Junction Trail connection, which you guys all know I'm very excited about. We also launched a long-range planning effort for Baylor Regional Park, engaging the public to shape future development and services. In November, Carver County celebrated the grand opening of the Family Resource Center, a new community hub designed to connect individuals and families with vital services and support. Located at Chaska Moravian Church, FRC was made possible through strong collaboration among local partners, nonprofits, and county departments. The Chanhassen Service Center has introduced 2 new customer-friendly enhancements this year. First, it now offers digital passport photo services for individuals renewing passports online, making the process more convenient and accessible. Second, a new self-service kiosk has been installed, allowing walk-in visitors to check themselves into the no wait inside appointment queue. On slide 7, a Military Appreciation Day at the 2025 County Fair saw its largest turnout in years, with around 100 attendees braving the 90-degree heat to honor our veterans. The event featured a powerful keynote from Lieutenant Commander Mike Peterson, who shared reflections on his service and the true cost of freedom. In addition, our office hosted a Veterans Mental Health Resiliency Summit this summer at the Willkommen Pavilion in Norwood, Young America. I'm saying that right, Commissioner? I can say the V, right?
No. Willkommen.
All right.
Pavilion.
The summit featured a panel of experts from 4 organizations representing different stages of the mental health care continuum. With roughly 70 attendees, the event was well received and praised for its meaningful outreach. Carver Link reached a major milestone this year, completing a decades-long effort to bring high-speed, symmetrical internet access to all rural areas of Carver County. In addition to full rural coverage, fiber construction advanced within city limits, reaching roughly 80% of Victoria and only 10% of Chanhassen. A key infrastructure collaboration also wrapped up a $500,000 equipment installation shared by Carver Link, Metronet, and Ridgeview Medical, enhancing connectivity and reliability across partners. And I'm going to leave that at that.
3 times.
Carver County Libraries delivered a vibrant year filled with creative, educational, and community-driven programs for children, teens, and families across the county. In Norwood Young America, over 170 school students participated in STEM and literacy activities, while a new Kids in the Garden pilot program taught 28 children how to care for the library's garden plot. Watertown hosted the popular program With Purpose, where families built bird feeders with Elpis Enterprises, supporting youth who've experienced homelessness. Watertown and Waconia partnered with the Twin Cities PBS hands-on learning events that drew over 180 children. Waconia also engaged teens with escape rooms and Dungeons and Dragons and rallied community support through letters and artwork for service members. In Chaska, more than 200 people stopped by for a llama visit, and storytime attendance rose over 72%. This year brought major conservational wins across Carver County. In Chaska, the East Creek Daylighting Project restored a 450-foot stream channel, replacing a decades-old underground pipe. The new channel includes a floodplain and 10 riffle areas, boosting aquatic life and improving stormwater management. At Hazeltine Lake, 6 years of goldfish removal led to the dramatic water quality turnaround. Phosphorus levels dropped nearly 50%. Mavison Lake also saw remarkable progress. A fish barrier and electrical guidance system helped remove invasive carp. I'm almost done.
You're doing great.
To meet growing demand, the Carver County Environmental Center expanded its hours in June, improving access and reducing wait times with nearly 38,000 visitors through November and projections over 41,000 by the year end. Meanwhile, Southwest Metro Lending Library in Chaska celebrated its first year of promoting community sharing with over 190 members and more than 2,700 items available for checkout. They're offering a market space for repair supported by Carver County, the MPCA, and RAC Retail Shop. And the end here. What an incredible year it's been. I want to express my deepest thanks to each of you for your dedication, collaboration, and the shared momentum that continues to make Carver County such a special place to live and serve. I'm truly honored to celebrate this moment and close out the year with all of you. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be your chairman this year. I appreciate that. It was a lot of fun, and everybody did a great job. Thank you. With that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Oh,
Hold
sorry.
it.
I mean, now
Look
we're
at the
all
administrator
Oh,
report.
shoot.
I'm not touching that. I can't top that. No report. No report.
No report?
No report.
Okay, no county administrator report. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Anderson, second by Fahey to adjourn this meeting. And happy